$199. Click into power with 4th of July savings now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. No crossover today, but if there was a crossover, it would have been powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Everlevel.
At Everlevel. Welcome back. Welcome back to me, I guess.
Yeah. You're the only one that hasn't been here.
Sorry. How's it been?
Oh, great.
Any news? Any updates? What was the moment of the last two shows?
The takes have been flying.
Did you puke?
I did not puke.
All right, that's good.
It would be really tough during a one-man show.
Yeah.
We talked to Nicole Auerbach yesterday.
Oh, yeah? Did you talk some swimming?
We talked some swimming and a little college football. She said, quote, parenthetically, Nebraska, they're going to be a problem.
A problem?
A tough out.
Maybe a problem for themselves. If you go off of any of the recent news.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about today.
I met Matt Waldron's parents, had dinner with them Saturday night.
You had dinner with Matt Waldron's parents?
Yeah.
All right.
We met each other at a local establishment, rhymes with schmunza.
All right. What happened there? How was that a thing?
Mom and dad were wearing Padres gear because it was Saturday. Their son was pitching Saturday night, and I was wearing my Padres City Connect hat. And
at Runza.
Yeah, schmunza.
Oh, sorry.
No free plugs. And dad came over and said, "Hey, did you see what happened in the game last night?" And I had a decision to make. Do I pretend to be a Padres fan because I'm wearing a Padres hat? Or do I tell him I just like the hat and sound
that's fine,
less manly?
Okay, where'd you end up?
I said,
"That's just a hat, man. Get out of my face." That'd have been funny.
I like the hat, and they have Matt Waldron, so supporting Nebraska. And he goes, "Oh, that's my son."
That's awesome. And so then they sat down with you, and you guys broke bread?
No, not exactly. We talked, and then as they were leaving the restaurant, the schmunza, they came back and said goodbye again. Said it was nice talking to you.
Cool. You should have said, "I watch every night on MLB.TV."
MLB.TV. I'm dialed in.
Yeah.
Padres.
All right. Very cool. Excellent. What an encounter.
Yeah.
I thought you just thought that I want to have a meal with Matt Waldron's parents and see what's up. Did they give you any did they give you any insight on Matt's journey, the founding of the knuckleball and things of that nature?
No, but I did almost ask his dad, "Hey, can you tell your son to be on our show?" Because we've asked, and he's declined. He wants to focus on baseball.
Whatever.
Ooh.
Baymon writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Baymon.
Did you eat a schmunza or did you get a schmamburger?
I had a schmalad.
Oh, a schmalad.
A schmalad.
A schmalad. A schmunza schmalad.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Those are very good.
I like those. Did you get a side of frings?
I got a side of schmings.
Frings. Very good. All right. Sounds like a good day at Schmunza.
Whoa, Barry Gibb is commenting on the
I
show.
got talking about the mega talk show. Barry Gibb, I thought you were dead.
That's what makes it such a monumental comment on the YouTube chat.
Barry Gibb is definitely dead, right?
Yeah.
Barry Gibb alive.
Oh,
Sad.
huge fine.
But a huge coup for us in our YouTube chat. Barry Gibb is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, Connor.
Welcome
He knew you
back,
were gone, too.
Connor, look at that hair on Barry Gibb. First of all, Barry, happy you're alive. Second of all, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I am alive, says Barry Gibb.
That needs to be in the text line Twitter feed, by the way.
All right, let me go ahead and throw that one up there. But yes, all right. So join us today on the show. We'd love to hear from you, 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You can call or you can text that number. Email Connor Josh O at 1620thezone.com in the Equitable Bank inbox. Twitter at Happer Show at Connor Happer. We'll do poll questions. Were there any poll questions while I was gone? Probably not.
There were.
Oh, okay. What were they about? Probably stupid stuff.
Do you subscribe to AMC Plus?
Oh, wow. Oh, did you get any good feedback on that?
I was trying to find something that we could reach unanimity on.
And so you were hoping that everyone would say no.
Right.
Okay.
95% have said no so far.
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
Had the big almond joy debate. I think we've had it before, but
the big almond joy debate.
Do you like almond joy? No, of course you don't. You're a regular human.
Twitter is on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. And of course you could leave some YouTube comments, this is great. Honestly, leave a comment on whichever way you want to get in touch with the show and tell me things about what happened while I was not here. I was not plugged into this show on Friday. I did catch a moment or two of unsportsmanlike conduct yesterday on my way back into town. But that was kind of it.
How'd they do? Did they do good?
It was great. It was a great show. So Bamon is telling us that we were lost without you and that we learned that Josh fails at crossovers. What's this about?
I did not do an afternoon crossover, a Friday or Monday.
Why?
Friday, the guys were working remotely.
Okay.
Because they couldn't be bothered to come into the office.
Just easier to not, probably.
Yeah, that was their choice.
That's fair. You get a pass on that one. What happened yesterday?
Yesterday, the governor's show was on Coil at 2:00, so I had to be in that room instead of this room.
So yeah, it's like you're like Evan Cooper. You're not just the defensive backs coach. You have other responsibilities within the building.
Oh, okay.
Well. And you had to attend to those responsibilities.
I said I was like a single mother. I have to wash and dry the dishes.
Okay, very good. That's a product, probably a better comp. Johnny,
don't compare me to Evan Cooper right now.
John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
He says there was some big Caitlin Clark news while you were gone. I assume that Josh was waiting for you to get back to talk about it.
Exactly.
And I assume we will talk about it today. Your assumption is correct. We will definitely get to the Caitlin Clark stuff today.
How could we not?
On this show. Elsewhere on the show, we'll be visited by Jacob Bigelow at 1:00. We'll talk some hoops, football, softball, slow pitch softball, I guess. With,
big dub.
With Jacob in the 1:00 hour. And we'll have MLB reaction, overreaction on the show today. We have another week of baseball before the All-Star game. I haven't done I don't know what day I'm going to unleash my big All-Star game take, which is the same every single year. From now until they change something, which is please make them wear regular uniforms again. But I'll do that at some point. We could do 10 minutes on that, like at some point this week or early next. Bobby Witt Jr.'s in the home run derby. I don't know if you guys heard the news.
Marcelo Zuna's in the home run derby. I don't know if you guys heard the news. I have no comment.
Josh seems excited about that.
No comment.
Alec Bohm.
I don't feel one way.
Alec Bohm's in the home run derby.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's what I saw.
Okay.
Is that not true? Was I fake news?
No. Trust me. The clock hit 2 p.m. yesterday, and I said,
I'm done.
I don't need to follow the news anymore.
Wow. So you're just relying on me in all the news that I've consumed over the last few days, which is very little.
I figured you would have the 6 p.m. to whatever time it is right now covered.
Yeah, well, fortunately, there wasn't much that happened between 6 p.m. last night and right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go back to some other stuff, which we will do on the show today. Like I said, appreciate it if you guys got in touch with the show. We have plenty of things. Well, I do want to dive into various parts of the Evan Cooper saga that lasted about 4 minutes for Nebraska. Pete tweet yesterday on roster limits. The official NIL collective of Nebraska is here.
Finally.
Media days are starting. I wonder if anybody will say anything at the Big 12 media days today. Assuming this is just one of the 7 days that they're going to do with all of their teams. Who knows? Mountain West media days will have a fun twist this year. We'll get to that. I have a couple more baseball takes that I'd like to get to outside of reaction overreaction.
Whoa, hello.
Yeah, we're gonna go baseball today. And I did notice that there was so there's been some news in the creator community over the last couple days.
Creator community.
In the creator community, yeah. Well, I've seen the news about Sketch, our guy. What's up, brother? We're not going to talk about that. But what's up with the guy who has the YouTube channel who showed up in Lincoln and caused a scene? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have not.
What's up with that guy?
Your description's very vague.
So once again, commenters, you guys were more online than me over the last couple days here. Apparently, there's some YouTube guy who goes around and plays basketball at places, and it drew a crowd of thousands at some park in Lincoln, and it caused quite the scene. And they had the police show up, and I don't think there was anything wrong that was going on, but Lincoln was very bothered by this. They do not like gatherings of large people unless previously scheduled.
So you
in
want
Crime Town
You want me to Google
for good
Lincoln
reason.
Park?
No, I don't know if that would get you there.
Okay.
Maybe that might get you there, spelled correctly. Of course.
Cam Wilder.
I
did see this guy.
Yeah.
I have no idea who he is.
Yeah. He showed up in Lincoln and caused a scene.
He was like, "Oh, you guys are wild here in Lincoln."
That's what I know about that situation. Not Cam Ward, Star Wars fiend. Also, good question from Charles. Was Jacob Bigelow at this hoop gathering? I don't know. Great question. He's always at a bunch of places.
Sure.
But I doubt it, I suppose. Also, Star Wars Fiend has a question. We're not going to do a topic alert show today, but I do like reading the comments. What about what Joe Burrow suggested yesterday? Any takes, Connor? Football, Connor, saying if the NFL adds more games, they need 2 bye weeks, and the Pro Bowl should be after week 13. Bad idea on the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe.
I understand the sentiment, but no, that's not going to work.
Also, I mean, Joe Burrow plays quarterback. He takes a beating, as evidenced by his injury-riddled NFL career so far. Mm-hmm. But that is one of the it's not a high-impact position traditionally unless you're really, really running around there. So 18 games is probably not that big of a deal to a guy like Joe Burrow. But it is a big deal to everyone else. So I imagine that there weren't a lot of NFL people that were very happy with what Joe Burrow said about it. They weren't very happy about that. But I don't know. That's my takeaway on that situation. But thank you. I appreciate you guys keeping me up to date on the news. Spent a weekend in the mountains. So it was like in the 30s at night.
Wow.
Whew, it was awesome.
I can't even imagine.
No humidity, obviously, whatsoever. I woke up a couple of mornings and my nose was bleeding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kept the windows open because it was 38 degrees. It was perfect. And then I woke up and my nose was bleeding. And then I came back down the mountains yesterday and we stopped for gas in Kearney or North Platte or something like that. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why do we live in this? Why don't I live in the mountains? Sure. I asked myself several times. Because it's very difficult to live in the mountains. I also tried to get many bottles of water while I was in the mountains, like to fill up a cooler with, like a 24-pack of water. So in the towns that I was in, which is like Breckenridge and Frisco and that area, you can't buy those. They don't sell them. They outlaw them. Like you go down, you go to the,
because of the plastic bottles?
Because of the plastic, yes.
Wow.
So you go to the grocery store and you go through the aisle that has all the bottled, stuff, and they have everything that's regular except for the giant packages of water, which is the only thing I needed from that grocery store. They're like, nope, we don't do those. Outlawed. I'm like, wow, okay. One guy had a And then I went to another place. It was a gas station. And I was like, so you guys don't have bottles of water here either? And he's like, nope. You get what you vote for around here, I guess. I was like, nice. It's like, good take. It's like, I don't vote here. I was not a part of that.
I know what color that man's hat is.
I was not a part of that. Also took some bleep from the guy at the grocery store. Me and my buddy went up, and my friend was wearing a Nebraska shirt, and I was wearing a Royals shirt.
Oh.
And the guy was like, well, I don't know which one of you to make fun of. And I was like, geez, guy, we just met. I'm trying to buy some groceries and get out of here. Like, what's going on? And he's like, well, Nebraska football, you're going to need some more booze, coming out of this store if you're going to be wearing that shirt. And then he didn't even get to me. He just went through roasting all the things about Nebraska football. So if you ever wondered of like, what do Coloradans think about Nebraska and Nebraska football in general? I don't even think they care about Colorado football. They're just like, here's what I know. I hate Nebraska. This has been embedded in my DNA for as long as I've been alive. That's a real part of the mountain communities up there.
I have seen, maybe you've seen this, maybe you've heard of this, that if you play as Colorado on the video game, you can check your watch as a celebration. Celly, as the kids call it.
I believe that is correct. Oh, yeah. I watched the whole deep dive yesterday, 20 minutes.
Oh.
They had Donovan Edwards playing some guy.
I've seen, speaking of the creator community, I've seen they've given some people are playing it already.
Well, yeah. I think that was for the express purpose of what they're releasing right now.
Yeah.
So it comes out next week, but if you do the pre-order thing, like, you're gonna get it, I think, next Monday or Tuesday. Do you think I was one of those people?
Yeah,
I was.
I've heard the snow.
I most certainly was.
The one creator said the snow looks terrible.
Oh, can you believe they got the snow wrong? If we would have got any precipitation up in the mountains, it would have been almost snow.
Gosh.
We wouldn't be able to say that the snow is not done. Jesse writes in.
Hi, Jesse.
I've told you guys this before. Colorado people are bad humans.
Love that take, Jesse.
Hashtag Jesse was right.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. All right, send in your stuff to us on the show. We'll come back and we'll reset a little bit, talk about the news of the weekend and my takeaways from the Evan Cooper departure, and then the reported hire of Evan Cooper's replacement. I think one thing that's probably happening a little bit is, since it all got wrapped up in a nice tidy bow pretty much in the span of about 14 hours from Friday night to Saturday, while nobody was paying attention to Nebraska football. Like, you found the one day that nobody actually cared. Great job by them. Great job by Matt Rhule. But it should not be overlooked of what Nebraska is losing here. We're not going to sound the panic alarms or anything like that, but it shouldn't be overlooked. And obviously Nebraska's ability to spin it into a positive is going to be, is forthcoming. So we'll see what happens in that regard. But we'll come back and we'll dive into each of those things when we return. It's a Tuesday here in July on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
You get a lot of junk in your inbox. This one, not junk at all. 1620 the email. Exclusive content, contests, other stuff probably. Subscribe today at 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
A nice summer day on tap for Tuesday. Expect mostly sunny skies. Small chance for a stray shower after 3 p.m., though. Majority of us stay dry. Highs in the mid-80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgaard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100, and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Welcome to this episode of RV Ready, brought to you by Leach Camper Sales in Council Bluffs. Rody?
Leach Camper Sales has the RV for you, and I am calling you out here.
People should go to leachcamper.com and check out the inventory.
And don't forget,
the coffee's always on.
Hi, I'm Nick Bromell, owner of Royalty Roofing.
The recent storms wreaked havoc on our community. Our team at Royalty Roofing is here to help. We're local, skilled, licensed, and bonded. We work for you to ensure you get the funds you deserve and make sure that the work is done to your satisfaction. Don't take risks with your biggest investment, your home. We are Better Business Bureau Integrity Award winners and Best of Omaha winners. Cover your roof with Royalty. Visit us today at royaltyroofing.org.
Planning something fun for your office, family, or friends? Joe's Karting is for you. Take a break. Come to Joe's to race, relax, and recharge. Great for team building. Ditch the speaker and burn some rubber. Trust us, Joe says you'll leave motivated. Joe's Karting race packages range from providing simple stress relief races to the real deal race experience. Check us out at joeskarting.com. Remember, go to Joe's.
Reminder, tomorrow, or I guess maybe this is news to everybody. Tomorrow, the Connor Happer show will be at Werner Park to watch some Omaha Storm Chasers baseball and to watch me make a fool of myself yet again.
That's the dream.
That's right. I will be attempting to do a radio show and be the MC for the Omaha Storm Chasers, however long that may go. And so Josh will be, kind of manning down the fort for a little while. I'm sure he'll get an appearance from President C.
You have to. It's required.
To talk about whatever he wants to talk about for a couple segments or a few minutes at a time. But please join us tomorrow if you have the ability to.
My wife will be joining.
Wow.
Werner Park.
Maybe she could be your co-host while I'm gone.
Maybe we drag her on the air against her will.
Interesting. Maybe your child.
Oh, he'll definitely make an appearance, I'm sure.
Interesting. Okay. That could be fun. So join us in the fun tomorrow at Werner Park. Storm Chasers will play Toledo at noon, and the Connor Happer show will be live from 10 to 2. All right. So that should be a lot of fun, as it always is. I don't know what the weather looks like for tomorrow, but probably humid, as I've discovered now, the real trick to humidity coming down from the mountains.
Everything is humid to you.
Everything is so dry. So I love the mountains.
88
on top of a mountain.
88 your high tomorrow.
88. That's hot, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
That's hot. Andrew writes in.
Hi, Andrew.
On Twitter, talking about the video game. The 3-day early access to the game is the 16th, which is a week from today. I may or may not have set up doctor's appointments to have the day off. Good call. So set up your doctor's appointments for tomorrow.
That's right.
And then you can come join us at Warner Park. Just it'll be difficult probably to do, back-to-back weeks with doctor's appointments, but come on, you guys can find something that's wrong with you.
Just tell your office that you're dying.
Yeah, just head out.
Gonna miss a lot of work.
Yeah, it's easy. It's really, really easy. All right. So Friday at 6:00.
Friday,
right?
July 5th.
Friday, July 5th at 6:00. Or was it 6:00? Because I was in a different time zone. Maybe it was 6:00 for me. Whatever it was. There's news that comes out and it says Evan Cooper is resigning from his position. And I said, excuse me, what? What's going on? I had just, gotten to the house that I was staying at in Colorado, and I was ready to just really dive in for a nice, fun weekend. And there was that news, and I thought, wow, it's Friday, July 5th when everybody is checked out for work for the weekend. And maybe you got Monday off too. If you're like me, you're just, taking an extra day, but it's a long holiday weekend. And I thought, wow, there could be no possible better time to do to leak that news out there to where it came out. So that's where that was my first observation. Obviously, then you get into, Evan Cooper, and we'll talk about that, his role and how Nebraska needs to kind of replace it or kind of reset things. But I think the first thing for me is that this is a pretty sticky situation. And in the span of about 12 to 18 hours, Nebraska, the reports were that Nebraska had already tabbed his replacement on the staff, and it turned out to be a pretty good hire from everybody that's looking at it from the outside looking in. And John Butler, who had been in a similar role for the Buffalo Bills over the last few years, who was just so happened to be sitting at home, not doing anything. He quit after the football season, and it was like, yeah, because he wanted to be the Bills defensive coordinator and didn't get that opportunity this cycle around. He's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go find I'm going to sit around for a little while, and hopefully I run into a spot where the path to being a coordinator, the path to running my own defense is a little bit easier. I could see it a little bit more clear. And there's a job that opens up in Nebraska with a defensive coordinator who we've said it long before any of this came up. He might not be around very much longer because of how good he is. He's going to be a head coach. I think Nebraska had a hard time keeping him this offseason. Did Tony White. And so maybe this is his last year, and maybe there will be an opportunity for promotion that he could earn potentially this year. All of this and the entire thought process, like the news cycle and how it works and what people start talking about, all of this pretty much got closed up in the span of less than 24 hours. So they turned a pretty sticky situation into a masterclass in how to deal with things, to where people are trying to convince themselves that this is actually a net positive for Nebraska. I will not be one of those people, for the record. I mean, we don't know anything about John Butler yet, outside of what you've read and all that stuff. It's very possible that Nebraska ended up with a really good football coach, and it seems like they did. But that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. So Friday, 6:00 in July, the news gets out there. By the next day, Nebraska has their guy. And, you can make a lot of, inferences on kind of, I don't know if you can make inferences on what happened. And we won't get into that, I don't think, during the show. But I do think one of the things that you can take away is that this was not sudden in terms of Nebraska feeling that it had to go this direction by the way the news came out, by the timing in which it was released to the public and leaked out there, and the games that are played in that regard. And then I tried to think, all right, if Nebraska had a situation that resembled this, or you could just straight up copy and paste this situation over to any of the previous staffs that Nebraska has employed over the last 20 years, I think, boy, I just don't know if it would have worked out this way.
Nope.
I'm not sure how it would have worked out. I have some visions. I have some ideas. I'm thinking if Scott Frost was the coach and his top lieutenant, they felt like he couldn't be here anymore. Because, that's another inference that we can make. This was a forced resigning by Nebraska onto Evan Cooper because you don't quit like in July before the season starts and you're the top non-coordinator assistant on the staff.
Sometimes you just get tired of it, Connor. You want to change the pace.
Matt Rhule has talked over and over and over again how much he implicitly trusts Evan Cooper. And something changed, obviously. That trust seems to have been gone. So he can't be here anymore. And that's what they decided. And so I try to copy and paste this situation with a different head coach in place. And I have my imagination, Josh, ran wild on all the things that could have played out. My best guess is that it kind of hangs out there for a while. Eventually the message boards and the rumor mongering things, they grab a hold of this, and then it gets out there, and then it gets reported by somebody. All the while, no movement has been had on the staff. And then it gets out there, and then the onus is put on the coach to make this decision of like, all right, what are you going to do with this guy? And they'll probably keep him. And then we got to dive into what happened, and we got to discuss all these things. And it really opens yourself up to somebody taking a needle and just poking at your program over and over and over again. And Matt Rhule is like needle proof, he's just like, I'm not allowing this to happen.
Whole question is Matt Rhule needle proof?
I don't know.
I don't like that one.
I don't know if I like that one either. But I think it's metaphorically the truth.
Yes.
That he's really good at seeing how things are going to play out. And if he needs to make a move, then does indeed make that move. And it doesn't matter who you are. I think another one of the inferences that you can make here is that Rhule doesn't really put up with stuff that could potentially be detrimental to the program. It does not matter who you are. This was basically his top assistant. Once again, a guy that he had gone through, who he had said out loud many, many times, this is the guy that he was one of the people on staff, and I believe one of the only people who had the ability to unilaterally make an offer if he saw something. He's like, yep, that's a guy. And so Nebraska's whole, Matt Rhule's whole, recruiting image as a program that he's built so far at Nebraska has kind of been built around Evan Cooper, right? It's kind of been like, yeah, we trust our evaluations so much, and we trust this guy so much that we're going to allow him to do whatever he feels like he needs to do to make offers. And it doesn't matter what the recruiting rankings look like, but they trust their evaluations so much. They're just like, yep, let's go on board with this. And so those guys worked in tandem. And so for Matt Rhule to say, no, that guy can't be here anymore, without anyone publicly knowing exactly what happened, is a real testament to Rhule and how he just, he doesn't put up with this. And I think there's probably some year one into year two stuff in here too. It's like, no, we need to set this standard. This is the standard for everybody. And it doesn't matter how important you are. It's the standard for me. It's the standard for all my assistants, all my staffers, and all the players. And so I have to go by this on a daily basis, and nobody gets exceptions. And that's where I start thinking about some of the previous head coaches who got breaks and had stuff go wrong and things like that. It just wouldn't have gone this way. I can pretty much guarantee you that.
And you certainly on the back end don't get a good coach, right? You get,
well, because then theoretically it is later down the line,
right?
It's even closer to the season. Now, maybe John Butler in particular is still sitting out there in August. He probably is. And so maybe Nebraska had that card in their back pocket the whole time, but
they probably get
generally, I think you're right. Yeah.
Like a Mark Whipple type where it's like, I thought I was retired, but I guess, so, it's Nebraska. I guess I'll go over there and do it. Well, but I'm not wearing shoes.
Yeah. Also Ben Roethlisberger. Have you heard about this guy? I coached him. People forget about that. So like they turned a sticky situation, a thing where you are really susceptible to having your program kind of sliced open with a knife. What's going on in there? And pretty much, made it a it's still a question. We still have questions. I still have questions. But Rhule won't talk publicly for another few weeks until we get to media days. What, 3 weeks from today, I suppose, somewhere around there. All the media days are going to be done by the time the Big Ten goes around. We're going to talk about all this media days stuff. But Rhule won't talk for another few weeks, and so the questions that he will get will still be there, but we'll have some distance from it. And Nebraska will have a new secondary coach or a new defensive backs coach, and they'll say, "Yep, well, that's what we have now." And people who aren't in this program, like they aren't in this program. That's the story. It's pretty impressive. It's not good for for people who, want to, we all want to know more. We want to know exactly what happened and what led to this situation. But I do think where you come out and you say this could be a positive is what Matt Rhule did with this particular crisis. Never waste a crisis, what Matt Rhule did with this particular crisis, and then how it eventually ages will be how this coach performs, which is always a very, very difficult thing to evaluate, but more so how the program sort of, responds from it, and what the coaches of, or what the players of, reading social media tea leaves and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, they have this thing that they're building now when their response to crises has been pretty galvanizing. It feels like for the team that we've seen a couple different examples of this now. I think this is the latest one, and you can only make of it what you can. So it looks like Nebraska's done a pretty good job with that so far. So the timing of it obviously was super interesting, and something that was, I think, pretty well curated and thought out by Matt Rhule before it happened. Like I said, 12 hours later, basically, you have your replacement at that position. He turns out to be a pretty good coach, and that's more of the talking point. And then you get the long weekend and stuff like that as well. So that was the first thing that kind of stuck out to me about Friday. And then you start asking questions. Okay, it's like, all right, what does this actually mean for the program now? If you you could get into the question of like what happened and why did it happen, but what you're left with is, okay, Evan Cooper is not here anymore, and where does Nebraska football go as a program now? It does raise an interesting question. Matt Rhule he no longer by choice has his top lieutenant in terms of like player evaluations and player identifications. Like that's a huge spot. Those guys have been side by side for a long, long time now, and like I said, Nebraska's sort of identity from a recruiting standpoint has been kind of based around that guy. So it's a good opportunity, I think, for Nebraska to sort of reevaluate. All right, what are we going? Is it going to be as simple as, well, we're going to bring this new coach in and he's going to have all of the same responsibilities as the previous guy did? No. So you now have to divvy out these different things, responsibilities and roles up to different people. My guess is the way that, what we know about Matt Rhule, my guess is that he takes a lot of that upon himself now. I mean, like Rhule is, he's really aware of the things that go on within his staff and the dynamics, and he's careful about, obviously the relationships and the culture within the team, but also the roles and the responsibilities. And frankly, I wonder, I wonder how long it would take to build the kind of trust that Evan Cooper seemed to have. And then it makes you think about the situation at hand. It's like, whoa, what must have happened for that to no longer be the case, right? And for him to not be here anymore. So you think about that, and it gets your brain spinning a little bit. But on, thinking about what it means going forward, it's really intriguing. And so who takes on some of those responsibilities, and how does Nebraska decide to divvy out the roles, and how much of it goes on Rhule, how much of it goes on the potential new coach, which hasn't been officially announced yet, but likely will be at some point this week. it's losing a coach like this. Now, Nebraska lost Bob Wager last year in August, right before camp started. I think it was right after media days when he got the DUI, and it was like, okay, well, Josh Martin's going to fill that spot, and then we'll roll on. And he had an interesting background because he was the Texas guy, right? They hired him straight out of a Texas high school, and it was kind of viewed to be a big coup in that way. And then all of a sudden that was kind of gone, but Nebraska's roots in Texas obviously are still there. So that wasn't, losing a coach that close to the season is significant news, and obviously the way it happened, but then they kind of push forth from it. This is obviously a significant story. Like I want to drive that point home because I don't feel like people are treating it that way because of the way it was handled by Matt Rhule. Like, so we should give credit in that regard. But like Nebraska doesn't have their top assistant coach basically right now in July. And maybe some of the recruiting stuff kind of takes a back seat as we gear up toward the season, and you could fill the role with, that way. But at some point, Nebraska is going to have to kind of address that and figure out the roles and responsibilities, like I said. But I don't want to diminish the idea that this is a pretty major story, and Matt Rhule's ability to sort of, tamp the really, really emotional feelings in the fan base or wherever else down is just really, really impressive. It was very carefully curated and all that stuff. So yeah, it's you got a CEO in charge, and he is he knows how things are going to go, and he knows how things will be handled by the fan base. He has a pretty good grasp on that already. Eric writes in on the text line.
Hi, Eric.
What about Terrence Knighton? All right, so I had to be kind of so here's what I knew going into today, basically. So the big deal was Terrence Knighton changed his profile picture on Twitter and then erased his stuff in his bio on Twitter. It was like, just was blank, or it said something else or something like that. And, predictably, we're a little bit on edge around here. Maybe. Josh, I don't know if you could confirm that. Are we on edge around here? Maybe.
Yes, we've been edgier though.
Fair. But coming off of the news, on Friday, and that developed over the weekend, it's like, well, what's going on? Is this program falling apart? And so people are watching the Twitters and what's going on and who's going to get hired. And they noticed that Terrence Knighton changed his profile picture. Well, it turns out that Terrence Knighton was just, taking a break, hanging out, and decided that he was going to update his Twitter. He just wanted to change his profile picture and wanted to change up the vibe in there. It's a good refresh. Sometimes you gotta you lose the Twitter's a real big tool for these coaches because in recruiting and whatever else they want to get out there. But he's like, all right, we're going into the season. Why don't we get a little refresh while I have a second here? And he did, and it caused mass hysteria within the fan base. But he's not going anywhere.
I have some other questions about Terrence Knighton's Twitter feed.
Okay.
A lot of references to Death Row Records.
Yeah.
Just wondering what that's all about.
What do you mean?
Suge Knight, not a great role model.
He's just a fan of Death Row Records. What's wrong with that?
I mean, who among us is not? But
so, Josh, you want to ask some different questions to Terrence Knighton?
No, because
pot roast.
That's just a very intimidating human being, and
he is.
Now he's got a bunch of Suge Knight gifs on his feed. And quite frankly, I'm terrified.
I don't think people noticed that when they were like, oh this guy changed his profile picture. So
now his bio says CEO at Death Row.
From what I know, that is what that situation was. And he's not going anywhere.
You're going to believe.
I'm going to believe Terrence Knighton.
That it was purely coincidental.
Yes.
Just like it was purely coincidental that Suge Knight held Vanilla Ice outside a balcony. And
was that coincidental?
That's what he told the police.
Yeah, I don't believe that one as much. I believe the pot roast one. So yeah, never a dull moment around here. We react to things in very different ways sometimes.
We're so close to getting through the summer.
So just to kind of recap, and we'll talk about this more as we go on throughout the show today, but this is a big deal. Nebraska not having Evan Cooper on the staff is a big deal. in the sense, like, it doesn't have to be catastrophic. It doesn't have to tank your program. It doesn't have to like be a bad thing at the end of the day. But it is now a question of like, all right, you're heading into a season here. First of all, you got to, it's a position group that's been talked about quite a bit this summer, and we're wondering what's going to happen back there. But I think more so for what he does in the player acquisition and identification standpoint, like you don't have that guy anymore, and it becomes a question of like, all right, how does Nebraska respond? But like I said, if you want to have a positive spin on it, you can, and you could say, look at how Matt Rhule's handled these things before, and look at their ability to either hire people or promote from within. Like there's going to be options. Nebraska's going to be fine. They're going to find good coaches at whatever spot, but it's going to be different, right? Like I said, the whole big picture was not necessarily based around Evan Cooper, but he was a huge figure in what they did from a player acquisition and identification standpoint. And that guy's not there anymore. So like it is a thing. I don't want people to get confused, but it doesn't have to be that the sky is falling. So when people are like, oh, you guys just get over it, it was yesterday's news. It's like, well, that doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be looked at a little bit. Like, hey, story broke. Nebraska tried to get out of the Oklahoma game in 2021. That was yesterday's news. Let's not talk about it anymore. No, it's a big deal because of what it means.
Just because they were able to spin it and damage control it and not sweep it under the rug, but bring the story to a speedy conclusion.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Doesn't mean it's not something to point at and go, hey, what's going on here?
Right. And what happens next, and how do you respond from it? But like I said, Nebraska's had some pretty good history now under this staff of responding to crises quite well. So those are my initial takeaways.
We have a takeaway from S on Twitter.
Hi, S on Twitter.
Whoever made Terrence Knighton's new profile picture should have noticed how anatomically impossible his hand is in this picture.
Yeah, it looks like his hand is just floating.
Mm-hmm.
AI Terrence Knighton. Either that or his left wrist is broken. But it is a good note.
I'm not sure which option it is.
It is most certainly a good note. So that's what is currently going on in his profile picture. I haven't even looked.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it say in his bio, Josh?
CEO of Death Row.
It doesn't say anything about Nebraska football.
No.
Panic. It's time to panic. I said it. No, I think that's what people did over the weekend. He's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. He's gonna stay around. That's what I have up to this moment. Maybe he'll get up tomorrow and be like Jim Schlossnagel and be like, actually, I am gone. But that won't have anything to do with changing his profile picture to the AI anatomically incorrect version of himself.
AI anatomically incorrect.
That's what they should do. That's what they should call it. Yeah. Charles says AI does not do hands very well. Was this the case with Mr. Yogurt as well? I haven't seen that one in a while. Did Mr. Yogurt have hands?
I don't know.
Check out our old Mr. Yogurt pictures that we AI'd up a couple weeks ago.
Pop that baby up there. No, the hands look good on that.
Okay. Yeah, he's got the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
He's just
what a wild
big
photo.
Jar of yogurt. Strawberries in there. All right, quick timeout. We'll come back. You guys have any thoughts on that? We'd like to take them. There's plenty of other offshoots of this. We can talk about John Butler, who is set to be Nebraska's newest coach in the staff. So we can talk about that as we go on throughout the show today. Plenty to come on a Tuesday, the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Now that's what I call a sticky situation.
Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. I'm back from being a mountain man, and Josh is still here. But you're leaving at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Just staycation it? Or are you headed somewhere?
We are going to the fabulous city of Lincoln.
For days at a time?
Yes. Do you want to know the backstory of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
My wife and I saw
I do.
My wife and I saw this thing on Instagram.
Oh no.
And it said,
oh no.
Hey, look, when you're planning your vacation, you don't need to spend a bunch of money and go on this extravagant vacation to all these different places. Your kid just wants to swim in the hotel pool. That's all your kid wants. So you can,
you can say not about the kid.
You can. It is about the kid. So you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Just
these are your days off. The kid's always off.
So we're gonna go to Lincoln.
This is not good, Josh.
We're gonna swim in a hotel pool. We're gonna.
Oh no.
We're gonna go see the dinosaurs at Morrill Hall.
Why Lincoln? You could have done this in Omaha.
Well, because we want to go to Morrill Hall.
Oh, you want to go to Morrill Hall?
Yeah.
Okay. You could see Nebraska's giant new football facility right across the parking lot.
Really?
Yes. And Nebraska's giant new business college.
Okay.
Right across the street.
Maybe a little hashtag content in the parking lot at Morrill
Are you just
Hall.
you're gonna go up there and you're gonna take a picture?
Yeah.
You'll have the big mammoth out front.
Maybe a vlog. Blah.
I bet your kid will love the big mammoth.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I had a class in the basement of Morrill Hall once. I have no other takes.
Okay.
Josh is using multiple vacation days to go to Lincoln and swim in a hotel pool. Is this a good thing?
I mean,
I'm a little concerned.
It's better. You got to look at it from the perspective of it's better than nothing.
Okay. Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, your goal here is to be refreshed and relaxed at the end of this. And I hope this provides that for you.
As much as relaxed as a parent of a 5-year-old can be.
Right. That's the goal anyway. Mm-hmm. You just get a different setting going on in there.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have many days to find some delicious lunch in Lincoln. They have great lunch.
I was told that I should ask Connor about where to eat.
You should go to Bison Witches.
Okay.
That's what I would do if I were you.
Never
you can't go to Bison Witches every day.
Never heard of it, but it sounds
it's a good sandwich.
Pretty self-explanatory.
It's not a bison. You don't eat a bison.
So it's not self-explanatory.
No, it's just a sandwich place. It's not self-explanatory at all.
So maybe it's a terrible name for a place.
No, it's a good name because it's different. It's different.
Look at that soup in a sourdough bread bowl.
Yep. You could do any of those. Justin has some good suggestions on the YouTube. You could check any of those out. Well, we'll discuss more of your time in Lincoln later on throughout the week. We can plan out your whole trip for you.
Would love to. Look at that Cuban.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m. hotel pool. And then, 6:30, you got to venture out finally, find some lunch.
Yeah.
Dinner.
Hopefully the kid is just almost literally exhausted.
Josh, I got a baseball take for you.
Okay.
So I went to a Major League Baseball game this weekend.
You did.
At Coors Field in Colorado. Saw the Kansas City Royals beat the Rockies 10-1. It's great.
10-1. Wow.
Now,
so many dongs.
I'm sure you're wondering, is sports betting legal mobily in Colorado? Yes, it is. And so did I do what I should have done, which was bet on any of my favorite players to hit a home run, a donger at Coors Field? Yes, I did. And Bobby Witt Jr. came through for me in the 9th. With a 3-run bomb, and then 10 minutes later is like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to the home run derby. Like, wow, this is a great moment for me. I was somehow mad at myself that I did not bet on MJ Melendez, or I think Massey hit one too. I was like two very,
some of the longer shots.
MJ Melendez is hitting like 190 on the year. It's like that guy's not going to hit a home run, but the ball really does fly there. It's a great ballpark. So here's the take. So I show up right at game time. I get in there like right when the first pitch starts.
Oh, wow.
Which is not common for me.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. It was out of my control.
Sure.
But I got in there right as first pitch happens, and Bobby struck out. or Adam Frazier struck out, and then Bobby struck out, and then the game was on. And by the time we get to our seats, as we, go to the bathroom, we grab a beer, whatever it is, it's the end of the first inning. And I thought, all right, well, this has got quite the pace to it.
Oh, Connor.
And then I sat there and watched the game for a little while, and fourth or fifth, I wanted some food and wasted another half inning to a full inning just getting a taco.
I don't like where this is going,
Sat
Connor.
back down, and I'm ready to say it. Baseball games are too short. Baseball games are too short. It's garbage. I had a whole I would have spent 6 hours. I would have been like your son in a hotel pool if they would have allowed me to. But the game lasted 2 hours and 18 minutes. It was an hour and 40 in the seventh inning.
A 10-1 game lasted.
Yes. 2 hours and 18 minutes in a 10-1 baseball game. We had a guy get his first major league hit. We had a guy get his, they had to do all the stuff. 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Look at that, 2:18.
That's how long it took. And I'm telling you, in the seventh, I had barely blinked and the game was just gone. And so as you're sitting there and you understand and you recognize the pace of the game, you think to yourself, I can't afford. So people asked me afterwards, they said, did you go up to the top of the whatever deck? I believe you asked me that question this morning, Josh. Did you not? Or maybe Nick did.
It was Gary, I believe.
Yes. Did you go up to the top of the deck? And I said, no. Would have taken me 3 innings to get up there. Would have stayed there for 2 pitches and had to go back down and collect all my people and leave. Baseball games are too short now. I was not comfortable at all with how short this game was.
7 pitchers were used.
Yes. How is your question?
I watch.
I'll tell you how.
I watch a good deal of baseball. I understand that but when there are 11 runs scored, usually it's like a normal game time. Huh. This is really peculiar.
2 hours and 18 minutes. Our average game time for 2024 through all of the games that have been played up to this minute is 2 hours and 38 minutes. That is just about a half hour down from 2 years ago. It is 4 minutes down from last year at this moment. It would be the lowest point for time played since 1981, it appears, if we stay at 238 for the rest of the entire season.
Now, I was going to bring this up because
there have been many sub 2 hour games this year.
The Braves game was cooking last night. It was speeding right along. 11 innings, 2 hours, 45 minutes.
It
obviously slowed down in the 9th, 10th, and 11th.
There's several things going on here. There is, is it ultimately, first of all, is the pitch clock working? I think we have a definitive answer on this. Yes.
Yes.
It is indeed working. It is doing what it was intended to do, which is get a lot of the nonsense out. But I'll ask the question, as we now have a year and a half of data to kind of pour over here. And, maybe you've been to a Major League Baseball game during this period of time and you have experience. Now, us Major League Baseball fans in Omaha, we're going to Kansas City or we're going to any of the various, places in the region, likely to go see Major League Baseball games. And so what are us, people who are listening to the show, how do they take in Major League Baseball? You're traveling to go see Major League Baseball. You're driving 3 hours down the road to go to Kansas City. You're driving 7 hours to go to Denver or whatever to get to Minneapolis. And, you are taking time off, likely, or spending an entire weekend going to a Major League Baseball game. And what I don't want to do when I'm going to a new park, Coors wasn't new for me. It was the second time I've been there.
Brag.
But I would have loved to stretch out, walk around the stadium a little bit and see what I could see. But I also, want to sit down and watch the game too. And I just didn't feel like there was time for both. And I think you've heard from some people who run teams, who are like, yeah, this is killing us in the concessions.
Yeah, on the business end.
This is killing us in beer. This is they got to shut down beer sales in the 8th. And some people have extended that out just so they can get a few more bucks on top of that. But like part of the experience of going to a Major League Baseball game is taking in what the park has to offer you. There's only 30 of them around the country, and you want to see what you could see. And yes, you want to watch the game and get your autographs and whatever, but like I want to experience the whole thing. And so I would have loved to have 3 to 3.5 hours to kind of meander about on Sunday. I didn't get that. I had 0 minutes. I had to sit in my chair, like run up quickly, grab a beer, go pee, and come back down. And I had missed an entire inning. I think it's like, I don't know what we do about this, Josh, but I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it's good. It's working. The games are shorter. The games are shorter. But how do we now sort of use the information that we have and make it more accessible for fans and for people who are, traveling to these Major League Baseball games? Is it a better TV product? Maybe. It seems rushed at times.
I think the owners are going to come to Manfred in the off season, next time the owners meetings or whatever, and say, hey, we don't know what the solution is, but we need to take a look at this, because yes, you've made a better TV product, but for people that are literally traveling to the game, it isn't good for the game to be over in 2:10 or whatever.
I did not get what I wanted out of that experience.
Yeah.
And you're paying all this money to buy tickets, and you're paying all this money to park and all this stuff. Like
Oppenheimer is significantly longer than the baseball game you went to.
Like if I budget, if I go to the East Coast and I budget a day to go to Washington, D.C. and walk the National Mall and pop into all the museums, I'm not going to one museum and then just ending it, right? I'm using this entire day. And that's what I want to do with a Major League Baseball game. Now, I realize that I'm not like every Major League Baseball fan. And I think, on a Tuesday night where it's only locals who are at the game, then it's probably not the worst thing in the world. People got to go to school the next day, whatever. Probably not the worst thing in the world that the game's 2 hours and you can go home and get the kids to sleep and everything like that. So everybody's needs are different. But as far as the baseball is concerned, it does feel a little bit rushed at times. And I know it's not good from a business perspective, and the ticket price, we're paying for it. The consumers are paying for the back end from ticket prices, and the owners are taking a hit because they're not selling as many, beers and peanuts. It's just, it's a different thing than it used to be. And I like, now, before the pitch clock was a thing 2 years ago or last year, it's possible that we got a 2 hour and 15-minute game every once in a while, but now we're basically averaging that. I mean, these games are short. And so I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I didn't like it. I'll tell you that much. Here's my baseball take.
I do not agree with the take, but that is because I go to a maximum of one Major League Baseball game a year.
Go to that last series of the year. Go to that Braves Royals series in Atlanta.
You want to do the show in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I know a guy who can, like, from a business standpoint, tell us yes or no. Like,
I don't even know what you mean by that.
I know the bosses of this radio station.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All I know is, Southwest keeps texting me every day, and they say, we can fly you anywhere for $50. So why don't we just hop on one of those flights?
They're just cold emailing you?
Yeah, they're texting me. They're emailing me. They're giving me push notifications. We have a blah, blah, blah sale. If I can get to Atlanta for $50, but we are taking a weekend. Josh, you've never been to the new Truist Park. I'm sure you'd love to see it. Maybe the Royals and the Braves would give you a 4-minute baseball game where you'd have to experience the entire ballpark. I'm telling you, man, go and you'll see it and you'll feel it.
By the time that series hits, that last series of the regular season, I will have been to Georgia 2 times and not been to the Braves games.
So you'll want to go.
I will.
And you'll want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see it. And the game will last 2 hours and 15 minutes, and you'll be disappointed at the end.
I would love to be disappointed. We'd go to Waffle House afterwards, and I'd feel so much better.
Kick you out of the stadium. Jason writes in. He says,
Hi, Jason.
Concession stands take way too long. I missed almost 2 innings at the Royals game getting a beer and something to eat.
So is it a concession speed problem?
It's no longer like baseball is a sport.
It was it was leisurely.
Yes, but and what is the leisure? Like, who's the leisure for? It's for the people in the ballpark, right? The more we go into television products and all this stuff, the further we get away from caring about the people that are actually in the stadium. And I think maybe that's our big underlying issue here. Are we going to...
That's a sports across the board problem.
Are we all of a sudden going to turn around, stop the bus, and turn the other way? Hell no, we're not. No, we've gone way too far into everything's a TV product now. But so all these organizations are tasked with the idea of like, how do we get fans to our games and how do we keep fans at our games? And Major League Baseball in particular is not making it any easier.
Charles brings up a good point on the YouTube chat.
Hi, Charles.
They have self-serve kiosks to buy beer at Kauffman.
It's still, you have to.
Does it take 2 innings to get through there?
You have to get. I mean, I don't know if it takes 2 innings.
Now, the one time I went there recently, it was 9 degrees out. There was a 3-hour rain delay. I had the park to myself.
I would like to get up and maybe mosey around, check out the store, whatever, while not missing a good chunk of the baseball game that I paid to be at. And it's just, it doesn't.
That's what happened to me. 3-hour rain delay. I checked out the store along with literally
I would
everyone
have
else in
loved
the
a rain delay yesterday. I would have, or Sunday. I would have absolutely adored a rain delay. It would have been awesome. But no. Tiny baby baseball game. Eric on the text line says this. Need to shave off about another 2 hours and 18 minutes off that game.
No, come on.
It'll be better. Also, back to Josh's vacation. Josh is right about vacationing with kids. We took my kids to Disney World, and they said their favorite thing from the whole week was swimming in the pool.
It's what I said when I was a child. It's all the kid wants is to swim in a pool.
But I think you're, as a dad, you're in charge of the next generation of people. You got to convince them somehow that swimming in the pool is not the best thing.
I'd love to go up to Minneapolis and catch a Twins game or something, or Kansas City, catch a Royals game. Royals are playing some ball.
Not really.
I mean, I like
suck right now.
I like a lot of their players though.
Amazing Daniel writes in.
Hi, Amazing Daniel.
Almost every MLB stadium has an order ahead available. The last UNO hockey game I went to, I ordered food and beer and was back in my seat in less than 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Also, wait, what? Look at the souvenir shop before and after the game. Not everybody has, like I said, for a situation beyond my control, I got in there as the game started yesterday. And maybe that's on me. And like the plan was to be in the stadium 30 minutes earlier than I was in the stadium. It didn't work out that way. And so maybe that's clouding my experience a little bit, but it just moves so fast. I felt like I was in there for 5 minutes and then, went back on my way, and that was the game.
Good contribution here from Riley in the chat.
Hi, Riley.
Happer is 100% hitting on the conundrum here. The experience for the most die-hard fans, those who show up to the game, is at odds with what brings in the most profit to the Major League Baseball, the TV product.
That is sports. That is across the board a big issue right
That's
now.
an issue. College football, NFL, every sport.
We're all sports fans. We want to go to sports games, but they're not for you anymore. They're for people who watch on TV. And that sucks too if you're a Royals fan, because that's on Bally's.
Yeah, and then and more and more of these stadiums are like, hey, let's make this a cool place to hang out. And it's like, no, I don't want this to be a cool place to hang out. I want this to be a place where I can watch the game.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conflicting interests.
It's like, oh, hey, they come to the party porch. No, I don't want a party porch.
Maybe I do want a party porch, depending on my situation.
If you want a party porch, that's great.
I wanted to go to the party porch on Sunday, and I couldn't go. I was trapped in my chair.
I want a cheap folding chair that is not uncomfortable, and I want to watch the game.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you don't care about how long the game is then.
Put a big screen in the outfield. No, I don't care.
All right. It was just straight from the heart. That's how I felt on Sunday. I felt like I was ripped off.
But you got to see your beautiful baby boy Bobby hit a donger.
Yeah, and I wasn't happy that the Royals had lost the previous 2 games in that series.
Yeah, you should not have been.
All right. Back after this on the Counter Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
So maybe when college football turns in, goes full, we are the NFL light, and they have a czar and everything, and maybe
Trev Alberts is the czar.
Maybe all of the when Trev's the czar, maybe all of the conferences will do their media day in Vegas at the same time. It'll just be media day for everybody.
There's 2 in Vegas this week.
That's what I'm saying. They're all already in Vegas.
They overlap a day.
How long before Big Ten Media Days is in Vegas?
Seems like it fits.
Like 2 years?
I mean, boy, they love
everything fits in
though.
Vegas. You love Vegas. You have to put it in Vegas. Now, it doesn't seem very Big Ten-y to put their media day in Vegas, but they've expanded westward.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to go to Vegas. And so the pictures that I've seen from the opening of Big 12 media days in Vegas, this is on the field at Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders, which also hosted a big soccer game this weekend as well, like an international soccer game too. Welcome to Las Vegas, the classic welcome to Las Vegas sign. And then it says Big 12 Conference, and they also have paid showgirls to stand there with the sign.
Great. That's what you want. Tough for Elizabeth Berkley to find work, it sounds like.
The conference's media is like, hey man, I'm just here to interview just here to interview Joey McGuire. Like, I don't need to
just want to talk to Cam Rising.
Why I just want to talk to Mike Gundy. Like, why is there a showgirl breathing on me?
I'm trying to ask Ollie about his DUI.
Yeah.
I don't need you breathing down my neck, lady.
Who is this for?
Not interested.
Like, what are we doing? Who is this for? I do not. Now, Vegas is an easy place to get to and has hosted many events before. But then there was this from over the weekend as well. Mountain West Media Days is also headed to Vegas, as Josh mentioned. They're another one. BJ Rains covers Boise State, and he's had a very interesting couple of days worth of tweets here. By the way, he's currently doing a radio show, it appears, from the couch at Stadium Swim, which I know the feeling.
Been there.
So that's a positive part of this. Here are a couple of the things that are going on at Mountain West Media Days in Vegas this weekend. Number one, they're going to try to make Boise State's kicker, Jonah Dalmas, who is 18 field goals away from the NCAA career record. They're going to make him kick a field goal across Stadium Swim during Mountain West Media Days at the Circa.
Okay, good bit.
In Vegas. Okay, you like that? You're
good
in
bit.
on that?
Uh-huh.
How about this one? You might like this one as well. This is also from BJ, who says that another member of Boise State's traveling party, running back Ashton Janty, he will be representing Boise State this week. But there is a catch. He will not be able to attend because it's at Circa, which is the place we went. And I can tell you firsthand that place is 21 and over only. So Ashton Janty will have to do his interviews next door at the Golden Gate Casino because he is legally not allowed inside of Circa Las Vegas, where the event is being held.
Logistically, how does that work? They got to video him in, right? Because the media who cover the Broncos aren't going to walk across the street and go talk to this kid.
They are.
Oh, really?
He's, from what it sounds like, he's just going to be sitting over there by himself with the other potentially underage people doing interviews. If you want to talk to him, he's over at the Golden Gate.
Is this an oversight on Boise State's part? Were they trying to really be? Is this like?
Do you think the Mountain West told the teams, hey, we need your representatives to be over 21 years old? Or do you think that the conference didn't even think about it at all? Is this a Mountain West thing or is this a Boise thing?
Yeah. Or is this player so highly regarded that like, well, we have to send this player.
I don't know. I don't know who dropped the ball on this one. And I don't. Maybe this was part of the. Maybe this is part of the plan. Who knows?
Get people talking about Mountain West Media Days.
Yeah, maybe it's just like, yeah, we had. I mean, you could only be in Circa if you're 21 years of age, and so the contingency kind of overflow area was at the Golden Gate, and that's where we're headed. Let me see. Ashton Janty. Is he a freshman? Or, I guess he'd be going probably into his sophomore year. No, it looks like this will be his third year at Boise State. So probably just shy of, he's probably sad.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably sad that he can't get in with all of his friends.
Longing for a Circa swim.
So
you'll have to watch Nick's vlog instead.
That's right. Yeah, if you need a little bit of Circus Stadium swim in your life, check out Nick's vlog. Blah. So yeah, every media day will be in Vegas in very, very short order. Everything will be in Vegas, which is great because many people have commented about Las Vegas and its outstanding weather situation at the moment. Also, that city doesn't have any water.
Oh,
it doesn't have any water.
Both of those things feel important.
Yes. I want to go to a place in July that's not Las. Like, why don't we just move it to Montana or something? Why don't all the media days go to Montana?
Bozeman.
I can tell you if Big Ten media days was in Breckenridge, Colorado over the weekend, I would have been jacked. I was like, this is amazing. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. I just got to deal with a little bit of a bloody nose. That's all. But no humidity. You got to apply some sunscreen. It's a great town. Lots of great local businesses. Plenty of good beer. The media would love that. But no, let's go to 130-degree Vegas where there's no water.
Hear me out.
And there's so many people that you can't even move.
Hear me out. The Big Ten does Detroit.
Sign me up at this point. As maybe this is a part of aging, Josh. I no longer care about going to. I want to go to where it's comfortable.
Okay,
that's all. I don't need to see the spectacles anymore. I've seen all the spectacles. So
Matt Campbell talks today.
Yeah, I was looking at their schedule.
I can't believe they're doing this in 2 days.
So Pacific time is 2 hours behind us.
Correct.
So yeah, they're already into it at the moment. I mean, we're gonna have Campbell, Gundy, Kenny Dillingham. I'm sure that'll be huge.
KD,
Scott Satterfield, not Marcus Satterfield. Tomorrow's Coach Prime Day, by the way.
Hello.
Joe writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Joe.
My brother was stationed in Vegas, and he always said it was a great place to visit during the summer if you were from the sun. Oh, wow, it's nice and cool down here. Where do you live? The sun?
I'm of the sun.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone. back to our conversation just quickly here for a comment about how games are short in Major League Baseball now. Some people, hey, I didn't expect everybody to agree with that, by the way.
That's why you didn't tell me what the take was before.
No, I wanted to spring it on you.
Yeah.
I wanted to spring it on you. I didn't want you to have any ammo to fight back with.
I've been caught off guard.
Amazing Daniel had a comment. He says, I got to the game late and then it seemed short is quite the take. By the way, didn't get to the game late. Got to the game later than I intended to. Got to the game at first pitch, as many others did.
Okay, important distinction.
I want you guys to know, like, this is not just me. This is not just me who's saying this. I'm probably the first person you've heard say this because I might be the person who cares about baseball the most in your life. But that's just, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not alone. I'm not on an island by myself. So Riley commented on the YouTube.
Weird thing to say.
And
okay.
I'm not on an island by myself. Don't put it on the internet that I'm on an island. Riley said, I was hitting on the conundrum of how baseball is putting the experience together and, what matters more, whether it's the TV product or the in-stadium product. And then Douglas followed up with this. Exactly. Traditionalist golfers would have the pros using hickory sticks and balls they wind themselves. I don't think that's what Riley was saying. But I am interested in the comment from Doug Liss.
We're not anti on the field tech.
I don't even know that I'd call myself like a baseball traditionalist. Like, if you were to describe a baseball traditionalist, what is that?
Immediately just word association.
Yeah.
A man in his 60s.
An old ass B word.
Yes. Keeping score in a notebook with a pencil.
Yeah, I don't do that. Okay,
I do it at basketball games.
See, you are. This is you. You're describing yourself.
I do keep score when I go to a baseball game.
I keep score when I do a baseball game. That's all.
Doesn't like walk-up songs. Everything's too loud.
What's their opinion on bunting?
Love it.
I like bunting too, but I have enough nuance here. So I was at this game on Sunday, and it's like 6-1 or something like that in the 8th inning, and the Rockies had Nolan Jones bunt with 1 out. That's a stupid time to bunt, Josh. You're down by 5. There's only 2 innings left. It's not the time to let them have an out. Bad time.
Yes.
So there's nuance to this conversation. That's all. Also, Riley writes in, I would like to distance myself from Doug at this point in time. I think traditionalists get a hard time sometimes. I do not want golf to be hickory sticks and balls that I would have to wind myself. I do not want that. Just to confirm.
Who would?
Asian Joe writes in, poll question, is Connor on an island by himself?
At Happer Show, you could find that one. Got a tag Connor.
Is that a little redundant? An island by myself? Or would you just assume if I was on an island, I was by myself?
You can be on an island with other people.
That's why I said on an island by myself.
Hawaii is an island. Many people.
Many people. Lots of people on that island. I'm like Hawaii in this take.
I do have to change it to by himself.
Yeah. What did it say before?
I typed out by myself.
Gotcha. All right. So that poll question is coming up. At Happer Show is at Connor Happer on an island by himself. You can find that on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. All right. So let's talk about NIL here for a second. Nebraska has a new NIL, official NIL, correspondent at this point. And it is
official NIL collective.
It is guess who?
The Jerky Boys.
No, wrong. It's 1890.
They made jerky.
They did, but they were famously second to the jerky race.
Yes.
I don't think they get the title of being the Jerky Boys.
Definitely not.
Nebraska Athletics announced a partnership yesterday, making 1890 the official name, image, and likeness collective of Nebraska Athletics and streamlining the process to make it easier for fans to support Husker Athletics among several options. What?
I'm sorry. I looked up at the TV, and Brian Kenny and this other guy,
that's Carlos Pena,
are literally like,
not Jason Stark.
Not Jason Stark. They're not shouting at each other, but they are in a passionate debate about
the stuff that they talk about on this show.
Outfield positioning be regulated?
This is my dream. I want to do I want to do a show that is so in the weeds, but nobody would listen to.
I'm sorry.
They were talking. They spent a whole segment talking about whether they should have, it's advantageous or not for teams to have batting practice on the field. And they were like, this is so important. We got to bring in Joe Madden for this. And Joe Madden's in like his cabin in an isolated area of the country somewhere.
Undisclosed location.
And he's like, sure, I'll talk about this. Why not? Now they're talking about outfielder positioning being regulated, and Carlos Pena is a judge with a gavel. I love the MLB Network.
I'm sorry. I glanced up there to see what was going on, and I derailed everything.
Should fielders be banned from carrying cards with scouting info? This is a hot topic.
Brian Kenny hates that card. I guarantee it.
There's all these damn kids looking at their cards. But he's like the analytics guy. Maybe he loves the card. I think he would actually like the card. Now they're showing a highlight reel of all the people looking at their cards. I love that. I love that channel. Anyway, NIL. I want to read you this part of the press release too. With this partnership, contributions to 1890 Nebraska are now eligible for Huskers Athletic Fund priority points and can be included in calculating Huskers Athletic Fund membership levels, including Nebraska Leadership Society annual and lifetime memberships. In addition, 1890 contributions are eligible to receive tax deductibility when directed to the 1890 Foundation, and priority points are declined at the time of the donation. Every donor contribution to 1890 goes directly to student athletes, and 1890 contributions are also eligible for 1890 specific benefits and experiences. So NIL has always been a hot button issue around college athletics, and certainly around here. I got a message before from somebody. I'll just read it without including this person's name because it came to me in a message, and it said this. Lots of discussion this morning about 1890 and Nebraska coming together. Curious your thoughts on this. When NIL was first introduced, people always said Nebraska had a huge advantage due to fan support. And as an example on this, and no knock on this player, but I've witnessed a line of hundreds of people lined up at a Lincoln Mall to meet Jamal Turner post-career. Why doesn't 1890 tap into this fan support? Could you imagine a line of people to meet Dylan Raiola, Thomas Fedoni, etc.? Well, I also think, so as far as like the player autographs are concerned, or using the players to your advantage for NIL, there's also the question of like accessibility now. With the example that this person gave, getting Jamal Turner to do an autograph signing after his career was the only chance you had to get Jamal Turner's autograph, unless you like saw him somewhere.
Trev Alberts is going to open the Bakers by my house. Oh my gosh, I got to go get an autographed all sport photo from him.
People are saying this, Josh.
That's a real event I went to as a child.
But now you have accessibility to all these guys like kind of all the time. So I think there's a matter of an oversaturated kind of market for it. But it raises an interesting question about NIL and what kind of support does NIL have and things like that. So does Nebraska, we did basically this segment a couple weeks ago. And so the initial thought was, hey, Nebraska's going to do really well here because of its support. I always thought that Nebraska was going to do really well in this space. And frankly, I think they have, because of their organization and their preparedness that was seemingly greater than everybody else around them in the space. I thought they were more prepared for this than just about anybody. They have open doors with their ability to connect athletes and people. Nebraska was certainly prepared for this rule to be dropped. That's what they want to stay on top of, on the cutting edge. But once everybody gets a grasp on it, ultimately we're talking about money versus money here. And like I said, it's a math equation before. Nebraska. Can Nebraska be a place where they are elite in NIL and they are winning over the biggest recruits or transfer portal targets in the country based on, offering huge dollar figures in terms of, money that they could bring in? No, I don't think Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska could be competitive in that space, but I also don't think they want to be competitive in that space. Like, I think NIL at Nebraska is going to be a thing, and this has been, I guess vaguely talked about by coaches and athletic directors at Nebraska. Like, Nebraska is trying to position itself as a place where you pick Nebraska because of Nebraska. You pick Nebraska because you want to be here, or maybe it's a fit from the football perspective or the baseball perspective or the basketball perspective, whatever it might be. Like, you like it, you would have picked it anyway. And then obviously you're going to be helped out and compensated on the back end, or of course, while you're here. Oh, and by the way, we have all these resources for you to get a job after school and all these things. Like, that is a plus for Nebraska. But are they going to be a place where, so Nebraska's in a top 4 for David Sanders Jr., offensive lineman.
Hello.
Remember that? Remember that guy?
I do.
I don't think correct me if I'm wrong here, because it was sort of out of the loop. So I believe he did a top 6 and Nebraska was not in it.
Oh, no.
But now they're in the top 4.
Okay. Well, you don't want to be in anybody's top 6.
Well, you don't care about the top 6 if you're in the top 4, right?
That's right.
If you're in the top 4, we'll see what happens when he gets to 2. Who knows? It could happen. But
maybe you can go, hey, Hayes, who was in my top 6 so I can whittle this down to 4?
Maybe that.
Do you got the last graphic on file that I could look at?
So he has set his commitment date, and it will be August 17th, according to his brand new cool graphic that he put out. And he will choose between Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Nebraska. All of those schools have to compete in the really, really big time NIL space, because that's the world that they live in. Nebraska is a little bit foreign to, I mean, they got Dylan Raiola, obviously, who
Dylan.
Thank you. They got Dylan Raiola. A little different. There were some connections there. Nebraska sold him on the relationships and being different. Like, Nebraska didn't have to, wow him with a X $1 million NIL offer just to get his attention. Like, Nebraska was in there the whole time.
Wowed him with family.
And I think that's the case here as well. And so the question has been brought up, like, is Nebraska ready to compete in that space? And I think the answer that I have specifically on this one is that if you get a shot at a guy like this, then you should be prepared to put that kind of money forward into a player like this. But is Nebraska going to be one of those schools who on the regular is in that mix for 5-star recruits and they have to put that kind of money up all the time? No, I do not believe so.
I don't like you said, I don't think they want to be. I think they kind of pride themselves on being like, okay, we've got a few like high profile recruits, but we're really just a team of like farm hands who wandered in out of the cornfields, and they're just a bunch of bleep kickers that are ready to work harder than the guy next to them.
Yeah, Yeah, you sell them on the, sounds a little you always do like a twinge of like a different voice when you'd be an interesting Nebraska recruiter, Josh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were missing the twang in there.
Come
to Nebraska because we work harder and we're better. All right.
The way I envision it, I have a piece of wheat in my teeth.
The guy looks like Mr. Yogurt.
Amazing Daniel tweets in.
Hi, Amazing.
This NIL collective stuff is exhausting to even think about. I get why some people love pro sports and don't really pay attention to college. All these different angles and levels of nonsense that have to be done just to field a competitive team is getting weird.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, and I actually think that Nebraska's staff would kind of agree with you as well.
More and more, I'm just like, you know what? I don't really care about recruiting or the portal. Just the week of the first game, tell me who's on the roster, and I'll decide whether or not that's exciting.
Like, this is always the way it's been with super, super highly recruited guys, like the best 10 or 20 dudes in the country. This is always how it's been, but now it's just more public. It's just it's just out there, and there comes to be like a number, and then you had to match it or whatever it might be. I don't know if that's the case specifically with this guy, but generally I think it probably would be for a person who's recruited at that kind of level. I want to get to a couple comments here on the YouTube. Here's Riley again.
Oh, really?
He says, feels like the best case scenario here is that we miss out on this guy, but it shows other high-end offensive line recruits that Nebraska is a financially viable option for projected future offensive line prospects. So, yeah, I think Nebraska could, with being in this recruitment, could send a message. And if the result at the end of this is, well, they checked all the boxes that I wanted, I really, really liked it, it would have definitely worked out, I just picked another school because that school has won more national championships recently, you can live with that. You can live with that.
Yeah.
And that actually can end up being, to Riley's point, a good recruiting tool for you down the road. So it's important that Nebraska's in these conversations, but are they the type of school that's going to continue regularly being in these conversations? I don't know. I just don't think that's viable.
That's where you have to start to win games.
Yeah.
And
it's
turn
about
some
that.
heads.
It's still about that.
Yeah.
So as I said when we did this NIL segment a couple weeks ago, like, is Nebraska a place where they have a good NIL operation and they can check all the boxes that are needed? Yeah. Yes. I think so. Are they a place that's going to wow individual prospects and blow them away by the straight up cash that they're offering in the NIL space? I don't think that they want to have that persona. Like, I don't think that they want to be that.
Straight cash,
And
homie.
that's okay. But now a lot of people you hear from, Nebraska fans, and they'll be like, look, blank team here just pays for their roster and they win. Why don't we just do that? Because that's not how they want to do it. I mean, it's a simple answer as I could give you. That's not how they want to do it. And I don't think that is I don't think that's Nebraska's best path.
You don't want to buy championships. We're not the New York Yankees. We're Nebraska.
But people want to win so bad, Josh.
You work for it.
They want to win so bad.
Why not win
I will sell my soul, anything, to just get to the playoff.
Why not win the Duke's Mayo Bowl first?
I say that there's other ways to get to the playoff. There's other ways to, win national championships. Actually, there probably isn't many other ways to win national championships. You got to pretty much do it that way if you want to win a national championship. But there are definitely other ways to get to the playoff.
There are two ways to win a national championship that we've seen. Buy it, steal it with a weirdo guy who's going to go to scout your opponents illegally.
Nice. Good one. And that's it. There's no other way.
End of list.
Eric writes in.
Hi, Eric.
How much does Nebraska's new schedule play a part in these recruits' decisions, knowing half of our season isn't against the crappy Big Ten West? That's interesting. I never thought about that before.
Now they got to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, a little more difficult.
I think it's still the conference that you're playing in. Maybe you get your hands on a couple more West Coast guys because you make a trip out there guaranteed every year.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's USC, UCLA, Oregon, or Washington, like you're going to make a trip out that way. But the Big Ten still has its bit, right? It still has its identity, which is we suck and are boring. No, we don't suck.
We love academics.
We're boring, and our media. We will be the only conference that doesn't have their media days that have showgirls at it. Welcome to Indianapolis, everyone. Can I get you some cocktail sauce?
Brian with a Y tweets in.
Hi, Brian with a Y.
Maybe Nebraska should take the equipment semi down and park it outside David Sanders High School.
Good one. That worked for Mr. Bricks.
It did.
Interesting. Little longer drive, but I think that truck is experienced doing that.
Load that truck up with tacos and go to town.
Could be good. You could put the whole test kitchen in there.
Yeah.
They're taking the recruits through the test kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Put the whole test kitchen in there. They get out. They start making hibachi on his front lawn. Then we'll see where he wants to go to school.
A truck and hibachi.
That's your best shot right there. Take the truck, make some hibachi on his front lawn, and say, what do you think?
Georgia doing this for you?
Josh has the odd news next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, poll question up at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Should Nebraska pack up the big semi-truck and start cooking hibachi on that 5-star offensive lineman's front yard? Please vote.
It's important.
Also, Josh, important news for you potentially.
Oh?
Today's Royals-Cardinals game has been rained out.
Already?
Yes. They'll play twice tomorrow.
Did we get an email about that yet?
No.
Okay.
I just saw a tweet.
I'm gonna fire an email off here real quick.
Okay. Would you also like to give us could you do an email and give us the odd news at the same time, or should I stall?
I don't know. I tried yesterday and it was really hard.
By the way, I received some more comments about what happened while you were doing the show.
Oh no. Some spy reports.
So I have this one. So there was a Kevin Bacon segment.
Oh yeah, top 5 Kevin Bacon movies. It was his 66th birthday yesterday, Connor.
Okay, so you were debating with yourself on which Kevin Bacon movie was the best, and then you started talking about Matthew McConaughey, and then you went back into Kevin Bacon. People were confused.
We had a commenter ask if I was team Matthew McConaughey or team Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
So I went through the resumes and I picked Kevin Bacon.
So you kind of just sounded it out.
Yeah. Sam didn't answer the phone yesterday.
That's tough.
I was that short.
That's tough.
I was that short yesterday. So yeah, I started talking to myself for a segment yesterday.
That's what you do, man. That's what you do. And that's why we're both very happy to be here.
Yes.
Again. Right after Josh fires off this email.
It is fired.
All right, good.
We go to Minnesota for the Twins game, where
I love the Twins and twins.
You never know what commercials are going to withstand the test of time, do you?
No. Although in the moment, I kind of thought, yeah, this is going to be here for the rest of my life. That was the one.
There was a time, because it dragged on so long, that I thought I would never stop hearing Waza.
Definitely. My grandparents had
so people are going to say hello to each other.
Wasn't it a frog or something? Like what was doing? Everybody was doing the one.
Bud,
that was it. My grandparents had that thing, and you open up its mouth, and it started saying Budweiser. But that was seared into my head as a child. Look at beer commercials.
Yeah.
Doing work on young Connor.
Make beer commercials great again.
Agreed.
Minnesota Twins star Joe Ryan had an issue during yesterday's game. The hilarious blooper went down during the top of the 7th inning in the Twins road matchup with the Chicago White Sox. Joe Ryan was seen in the dugout.
Did he puke?
No, it was a gold bond day for Joe Ryan.
Oh,
he opened up his pants and
you got to go back down to the clubhouse, man.
Poured it right in.
Yeah, that's why they have those in Major League Baseball. You can just walk down the tunnel and nobody can see you. It's really great. When people get mad now in games, they don't have to destroy the water jug like Carlos Zambrano did. They could just run back into the tunnel, punch the wall a few times.
Somebody did that over the weekend and broke their hand.
Yes.
That happens all the time.
It was a Cubs guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Cubs guy, which was great.
The broadcast followed Carlos Correa back to the bench after hitting a home run. The intention was to watch Carlos Correa celebrate with his teammates, but an added bonus was Joe Ryan tugging on his waistband and unloading a bunch of powder. We don't know that it was Gold Bond, but it was probably Gold Bond on his privates as he had a quick chat with the shortstop. It was pretty hot and humid that day on the south side, so we can only imagine what kind of mess was going. I don't need this commentary.
We don't have to go any further than that. Sometimes you just, like, I've never subconsciously applied Gold Bond before.
I would never do it once I have left the confines of my home.
But that's a dude who, like, has put some Gold Bond on before.
Sure.
You know, he just did it without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm on national TV. Like,
who cares? I'm always on TV.
Yeah, like it happens a couple times where dudes like pull their pants down. It famously happened in who did that in a Major League Baseball game long, 80s or 90s. Guy pulled his pants all the way down, then realized that his pants were at his ankles and was like, pulled him back up. Why am I thinking Robin Ventura?
Steve Lyons did it in 1990.
Yeah. It's probably that. It's probably Steve Lyons. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. We move on to Provo, Utah. Ever heard of it?
I have. Yes.
Well, yachts of young girls pretend to be mermaids while swimming in a pool or the ocean, but one Provo woman has made that dream come true and won the Merlympics.
She turned into a mermaid?
Yep. The Mia Sim, 22 years young, became the fastest mermaid in the world last month when she competed at the Swiss Merlympics in Geneva, Switzerland.
Okay.
This competition has been around since 2015 and is held every 2 years because you wouldn't want to hold it every year or every 4 years like the Olympics.
Yeah.
Sim has officially been mermaiding for 10 years, and she said the Merlympics have really boomed in the last 5 years. This is elite athleticism you can get out of mermaids, she said. Many mermaids will do pageants or events, but the Merlympics are solely designed to prove athleticism.
What makes the Merlympics different from the Olympics?
Great question. All athletes must complete 5 events at the Merlympics. Ecology. The athlete dives down and retrieves as much trash as possible in 90 seconds.
And these people are just, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have mermaids.
that is correct.
Okay.
All events are completed while wearing full mermaid or merman gear.
You just hop into the sack.
Their legs are bound from their hips to their toes in a tail. Some mermaids choose to wear a fancy headdress to complete the look.
How much better at swimming do you think you'd be if you had one of those mermaid suits?
I feel like it'd be significantly better.
It would be so much easier.
Yeah. Because I've got
you could use the power from both of your legs and there's no separation. Yeah, it'd be incredible at swimming. I guess that's the point. Mermaids are definitely a lot better at swimming than humans.
There's a 50-meter swim race. There's a 25-meter rescue. You have to pull a dummy out of the water event. There's underwater posing, which Sim says this is the hardest event. Each mermaid dives down and poses for a picture. And then has to swim away for the next person to take their spot.
And the best picture wins?
I guess,
okay.
Yeah. And then
congratulations.
The competitor, and then figures is the fifth category. The competitor has to perform 3 of 10 mermaid figures, and I don't know what that means.
Okay. I didn't expect to learn this much about the Merlympics. Didn't know they existed.
No, not at all. Now I do, though.
But I love that people are into this. Imagine dedicating your entire life to becoming good at swimming with a fin on.
Yeah. But like we discussed a lot yesterday, I don't really care what the event is. I just care that America wins it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do we suck at this too?
No. America won.
USA football. Okay.
America won.
I get it.
Brought no shame to our country.
That's good.
Unlike the under-20 football team.
Shout out to those people. That lady from Utah.
Finally, we go to New York City. A little preview of tonight's episode of Hard Knocks.
Oh, you know what? I watched the first episode last night.
Yeah.
I watched it kind of like in the
Passively,
background.
yeah.
Yeah. It was good. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Okay. If you didn't, I will tell you that last week's episode of Hard Knocks showed more about the Giants' offseason strategies. Tonight's episode promises to cover a topic that won't compromise the team's interests. How fast can Brian Daboll run a 40?
Okay, see, this is what I'm actually not in on. I know it might, fit the personality of me in this show to be in on the goofy, weird stuff, but if I'm watching off-season Hard Knocks, I want the stuff that they were showing me on episode 1.
They had a draft decision.
What are we going to do with Saquon? I'm more interested, how do they talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
Do they talk about it like you and I do? And the answer is kind of yes. Obviously, they know a lot more and have a lot more detail and have more resources at their fingertips, but they're like, hey, you know what? Is somebody going to pay Saquon X amount of money? Because if they do, then it's going to look real bad for us. That's basically how we talk about it. It was cool. But I don't care about watching skinny Brian Daboll run 40s.
A teaser posted last night showed Daboll boasting during the scouting combine that he could run the 40 in 4.7.
Wow, that's fast.
Whether he actually chooses to run or not, and whether he can do it in 4.7 or faster, remains to be seen.
How fast can he mermaid a 40?
Oh, great question. But yeah, he's sitting in a chair and he's watching players run the 40, and he says, I can do it in 4.7. And everyone around him says, no, you're an idiot. Just like we did when Nick said he could eat a hot dog in 10 seconds. We're like, no, there is no way. Go do it.
And then
now.
They're going to show the results of this on the episode tonight.
I would imagine that's the end game.
Huge moment for Dayballs. Huge moment.
Yeah.
You can't talk that kind of game. It didn't work out for Nick and his hot dog.
No. Now, I will say he doesn't have to get to 4.7, but he does have to have.
He's got to crack sub 5.
He's got to get close.
Mr. Rick writes in.
Hello, Mr. Rick.
At the Sip and Dip in Great Falls, Montana, they had female mermaids in a big tank for the patrons' entertainment. Don't know if it's still open. That was 10 years ago.
Were they showgirls?
They were mermaids.
Can a mermaid be a showgirl?
Probably, right?
Poll question.
I think the poll initially to the mermaid is just that it's a mermaid, but if there were too many mermaids, you had to make them different. Turn them into showgirl mermaids. I bet you could.
Poll questions up at Happer Show. Can a mermaid be a showgirl?
Also, we appreciate everybody listening to the show. Wherever you listen, it's still AM radio. People forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt writes in.
Hi, Matt.
So I've obviously been listening to a lot of podcasts in the car lately. I tried to pause live Happer Show while pulling into my driveway. And you can do that if you're on YouTube. You can just press pause on us, and then it'll start right back up wherever you are, and we'll just keep going.
That's the beauty of listening to us on a pod. Pod.
Still AM radio.
That's right, baby.
Don't forget it. All right. Noon hour, we'll have MLB reaction, overreaction coming up. Still talk to Jacob Bigelow at 1. A few more things from Husker football that we haven't gotten to from over the last couple of days, and plenty more. Also, we are in the heart of graphics season. There are so many graphics out there.
It's Hayes Fawcett season, baby.
We should do a segment, Josh. New idea. Today in graphics. And we dedicate a segment every day to the best graphics that are out there on Twitter. It only works for probably the month of July and August.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a July thing. But I don't know. We've been looking to fill the void that the top 5 is left.
Well, we're gonna have some summer school guests beginning next week.
But maybe at 12:45 every day, today in graphics. Here's what's out there in the graphics world.
Quick little nugget. We can put it up on the video stream here.
Maybe we'll have the first edition of Today in Graphics next on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Big 12 Media Days. Although less and less people nowadays say Big 12 that way.
That's right. Now it's become
Who do we have left that still says Big 12?
Texas Tech,
Yes.
TCU.
Okie State.
Mm-hmm.
TCU? Yeah, I get.
I don't know if they have the twang necessarily.
Yeah.
But
They're city, They're city boys.
big city.
Arizona
slickers.
doesn't. Arizona State doesn't. Baylor definitely does.
Oh,
BYU says Big 12.
No Coke, please.
UCF, how do they say it? They probably got some twang.
Little,
on there.
it's a different twang, but it's
Big
a twang.
12.
Yeah.
Cincinnati doesn't have an accent. I like
People forget about Cincinnati.
I like chili on my noodles. That's how they'd say it. University of Colorado at Boulder. How would they say Big 12?
Welcome to the Big 12 conference.
Oh, you think they're snooty that way?
Where is my marijuana?
That's not how people from Colorado talk.
You touch my weed, I'm going to slash your tires.
That's better.
And throw a piss bomb at you.
That's better. Yes, that's better. Also, have you tried the weed?
We've got it. If
Sweet,
you want
man.
it,
It's pretty
we've
sweet.
got it.
Oh, what are you asking about Colorado football? I thought you were asking about weed.
And our
I don't
nice-
know anything about Colorado football. Are they good?
And our nice watches.
The University of Houston. Yeah, Big 12.
Big 12.
Iowa State University. No, pretty normal. Kansas, pretty normal. K-State, normal. Oklahoma State, Big 12. TCU, Big 12. Texas Tech, Big 12. West Virginia.
Oh, that's a twang.
Now, how would they say it? How would they say Big 12?
Let me put down my Mountain Dew and welcome you to the Big 12.
Yeah, it really does all come together that way. Utah also probably just going to say it normally.
Yeah.
But it is Big 12 Media Days today. One of the days anyway. Mike Gundy, this is a Pete tweet. Mike Gundy to ESPN on Ollie Gordon, he of DUI fame. Quote, he's going to play. He said Ohio State or Oklahoma State, will discuss internal punishment for Gordon, but he's not going to miss any games. He said OSU decided to bring Gordon to Big 12 Media Day to be accountable for his actions in the wake of his DUI arrest. That's right. That's what Media Days is becoming now. Only the kids who get punished will go to Big 12 Media Days.
I do find it kind of interesting that it's like, no, you will play every game, but also you're going to sit in that chair and answer every question these people have about you, and it will not be fun.
What if he was just, he just says it over and over again. Hey, look, it's kind of like an ongoing legal situation. I can't really talk about it, but the punishment is for him to be asked that 400 times and for him to say that every time. I love the idea of Media Days as a punishment. That is a great plan. Mike Gundy, cutting edge.
That's what they say about him.
Big 12.
I have a quote.
From Mike Gundy?
No, from Big Idea Commissioner
Big
Man.
Idea Commissioner Man. He is talking. He's giving his State of the Union right now.
Quote, we have solidified ourselves as one of the top 3 conferences in America. What do you think about that?
Do you think that that's true? I mean, it's definitely not 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So really, it's an ongoing battle for that third one.
Between the Big 12 and the ACC.
Based on what metric? Who plays more games in Brazil? The Big 12 wins.
Who game in Mexico?
Yeah. Who has more smart West Coast schools? ACC. You're a winner. Who has more national championship contenders? ACC.
Who has more smart West Coast schools? ACC.
ACC. Who has a stranglehold on Utah? Big 12.
Big 12.
Brett Yormark is also, he's still talking right now, but the title sponsor of the Big 12 Media Day is Totino's Pizza Rolls.
Oh, hello.
Which I love personally.
Who doesn't?
And it's interesting because we did hear the news recently that it's possible that conferences will forego being called what they're called and instead be sponsored by something. So maybe it is the Pizza Roll 12 or the Big Pizza Roll Conference. TBD.
It's an option.
Here's one more from Big Idea Commissioner, man. Brett Yormark, quote, people keep asking what's next. We are.
I don't like that sloganeering. Doesn't quite hit.
Not into that. Not into the sloganeering. I love it. I love media days. It's just an opportunity for everybody to get up and say how cool they are and how exciting their teams are going to be and their conferences are good and the TV deals are good and there's nothing wrong anywhere. I love it. Media days are perfect. Here's another Pete tweet from over the weekend, or actually this is from yesterday, about the ongoing details of big settlement 2024 with the NCAA and all the schools and people who are there's going to be some rule changes coming up. One of those is roster limits. Here's Pete. The range of roster limits being discussed is between 100 and 110, with the Big Ten lobbying for the higher side of that range. Their discussion of a phase-in on this, so teams with giant rosters, think 130 to 140, potentially don't have to make immediate giant cuts for next season when this is put into place, theoretically. Nebraska is indeed one of those teams. I believe their roster at any given moment floats around 145.
Big roster.
It's big roster. Big roster 2024. Now, I would actually view 100 to 110. Now, think about this. We go back a few weeks and months now. The initial scare tactic was, hey, look, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be able to pay players and everything like that, but the roster limits are going to be cut down and walk-ons will be dead. It won't happen anymore. And so that was like, whoa, that's a big shock. Obviously, the Big Ten balked at that, and they said, no, we like the walk-ons. We still like to provide opportunities and all this stuff. And so where it sits now seems like it's in between 100 and 110, which would definitely not be something that Matt Rhule would want. Matt Rhule has been an advocate for keeping the roster rules exactly how they are right now. But I do think that'd be kind of a win for a place like Nebraska, who certainly would not have enjoyed the 85 or whatever that, if you only get 85 players on your roster. You already have 85 scholarships. 85 players on your roster would be the new one. Now we're probably looking at 100 to 110. Honestly, I know Rhule talks about how they want to have all these opportunities for people and they love the idea of having walk-ons and all this stuff. But I think one thing that we've learned about Rhule is that he will pretty much make do with whatever you get him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's going to advocate for himself, but he's also not going to whine too hard if he doesn't get his way.
I would like to, have Matt, maybe it's an Impractical Joker situation, and I sit Matt Rhule down at my restaurant, and he's heard about it, this restaurant, and then I come out and I feed him a giant plate of garbage from the trash can. And he'd be like, oh, wow, interesting. What is this? And I'd be like, that's literal hot garbage from the trash can. It's my specialty. He'd find a way to make something good out of it, I don't know if it would taste good, but he'd probably find a way to make something good out of it.
I really like the way
the analogy was bad.
And he'd fill in the blank.
Yeah. The analogy was bad, obviously.
He's going to go into a recruit's home and love every dish that is prepared for him, even if he, in fact, does not love the dish.
Yeah. So I think we're going to haggle a lot about this, whether it's the Big Ten or any other conferences, and then whatever comes out of the settlement here. But I don't know, Nebraska's going to be fine. If they would have cut it down to 80, 85, which I never really thought was a possibility in the first place, that would have been a life-changing experience for Nebraska football. That would have been a lot different.
There's some tight cuts.
No doubt. So maybe it comes up next year where your roster just simply can't be as big as it is right now. That's okay. Nebraska will find a way. Is Nebraska currently taking advantage of the fact that they can't have their roster as big as they do? Absolutely they are. Everybody should be, or whatever fits them as a program. Nebraska is taking advantage of that at the moment. And they get the opportunity to, offer NIL money even to walk-ons and stuff like that as well, which has, been a fantastic, development piece, I think, for the program. But If they cut it down to 110 or 115 next year or whatever it might be, it'll be all right. And they'll still be walk-ons. It'll just be a more competitive space.
I have
so many big commissioner idea man tweets here.
Yes.
Josh. Give me one.
I got one from Ross Dellinger.
Ross.
Brett Yormark says he has pushed the NCAA to permit conferences to have commercial patches on uniforms
I bet he has.
of game officials and referees like the NBA.
I bet he has.
Mm-hmm. Why would you not at this point? We are used to it.
If there's one guy though who's like, but here's the problem. Like doing it because you feel like you have to, and I think that's what the Big 12 is ultimately doing. They've got to make up some money somewhere, right?
Mhm.
But like doing it because you have to, and doing it because I'm pushing for it. He's pushing it. He's pushing for it for his coaches and for his university, for his universities and for his ADs and stuff like that. And that's good. They can have those guys' back, but pushing for it is such an interesting way. Like, here's what I really want in college football. I want jersey patches. It's like, what? You're weird. You're kind of a psycho.
That's not what you want.
Nobody actually wants that.
Yeah.
It's like, we're doing this because we have to. So it's an interesting way to kind of frame that.
Good point by you.
More big idea commissioner man tweets. Quote, we're taking an innovative approach to exploring new TV windows. Wonder what that means.
Oh, Big 12 After Dark?
Quote, the Big 12 is a mature startup. Our brand can be younger, more aggressive compared to our peers. We are taking an innovative approach in exploring new TV windows. They're like, let's play games at midnight and say the F word on the broadcast.
Ooh.
How much you want to bet that that's going to be like part of like, they're just trying to be the antithesis of the Big Two at the moment. Like that's what they hired as their commissioner, and they're going to do all of the stuff that the Big Ten and the SEC can't and won't do because of the size and tradition and the stuff that those conferences are like beholden to. The Big 12 is like, we'll take it all. We'll take it all.
We're going to do a game.
We're going to be the Pizza Roll Conference. We'll do it. I don't care.
We're going to do a game that kicks off at midnight. Yeah. It's going to be between Arizona State and Utah, and it's going to be there's not going to be any broadcasters. It's going to be Marshawn Lynch talking to Hawk Tua girl.
Perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. You're correct. And they will do an alternate broadcast on Big 12 YouTube, or Big 12 Twitch, and it'll be a bunch of video game streamers talking about football, trying to talk about football.
They'll be playing the game on college football while the actual game is being played on the other side of your TV.
Yeah, that's what the Big 12 is going to be doing.
Here's something that's kind of interesting.
Okay, last one.
At Big 12 Media Days, people have been given a look at the tablets that will be available on the sidelines of college football.
Oh, big tablet conference.
Yes. Tablets will be used on the sideline with TV, end zone, and all 22 feeds. The NFL gets 4 screenshots.
That's right, yeah.
College football will be multiple live video on the sideline.
Definitely no shenanigans are going to go on with that.
Nah, no one's going to be able to manipulate that.
Also, the idea of the conference media days as a punishment. John emails in.
Hi, John.
On the Equitable Bank inbox. Scott Frost thought of media days as a punishment.
Yeah, he sure did, didn't he?
He did not like being at his last Big Ten media days. That is for sure.
Remember the huge scandal of opening statement gate?
Remember how all of his players thought he was sad and wanted to see the real Scott Frost again? That is maybe a red flag. All right, back with MLB reaction, overreaction. That's right. I got some baseball takes, and the writers want to get my thoughts, so I'll give them to them next on 1620 The Zone. right, here's one for you local sports fans. I assume we're talking to the right audience.
God, I hope so.
Sports fans, fans of other things. We've already talked about the occurrences, the things that will be happening around the time of Thanksgiving this year.
Busy week.
It is a busy week. A lot going on. Creighton's in the mega NIL tournament. Nebraska's playing Iowa, Thanksgiving.
People forget.
It'll be the 10-year anniversary of Nebraska getting a first down in overtime on November 28th.
I'm not saying Nebraska should go to overtime, but maybe they should go to overtime and just
to see,
just to break that curse.
But then it'd get worse if they don't do that.
It would.
Maybe they could win in first down. They could win in overtime without a first down somehow. Just kick a field goal right away.
Just one Dylon bomb.
Could work. So there's a lot of important stuff going on. But we go back to the week before that on the Friday. Remember, it is Creighton, Nebraska basketball day. That's right. There's a volleyball game, I believe, that night between Nebraska and Wisconsin.
Feels like a big one.
Or maybe that's the Saturday. I'm having a tough time keeping them all straight, even as it stands right now. And Nebraska plays Wisconsin in football, of course, on Saturday the 23rd. Let me add another thing for you all sports fans. Are you interested in a Creighton, Nebraska men's and women's double dip on Friday, November 22nd?
Oh, you could talk me into this.
Well,
for sure.
It is happening.
Hello.
So the Creighton women put out their schedule, and on it says that they will play Nebraska at home on Friday, November 22nd. Now, what will they do with that game as far as the timing? Assuming the men's game will be at nighttime. Nighttime fun.
Seems safe. Yeah.
Friday night. So do you put the Nebraska-Creighton women's game at Sokol at like 3 o'clock? Or do you think big and you put them
big idea, man,
right there at the Chai? Could draw a good crowd, could draw a good number. Creighton women like playing at the at Sokol because it's a smaller gym. It gives them nice home court advantage. It was certainly rocking in there 2 years ago when they, beat Nebraska to a pulp. Wonder what might happen on Friday, November 22nd, when we get a Creighton, Nebraska. All the J-Sker whatever will pop up on that day and that day only. Be a lot of fun. Both games are in Omaha this year. Wonder what it'll look like.
Great idea.
Let's hit some MLB reaction overreaction, Josh. Right. The writers are back. The writers were here last week, but you were gone, so you didn't get a chance to see what the writers wanted to know about.
The hell was I?
You were at that meeting.
Oh yeah,
you were at that meeting.
Very important.
So I had to ask myself the questions and answer the questions.
It's wash and dry.
Wash and dry, just like Josh is doing every day of his life. But let's do it. What do we got today?
Take number one from our writers. Spencer Schwellenbach, my guy, is another example of why the Braves are one of baseball's best franchises.
Now, what do you mean, writers? What are you talking about? Let's make some guesses. So Spencer Schwellenbach, Josh, you would probably know more about this than I would, given you have the pulse of the team. He's really grabbed a rotation spot. It seems like he's going to stick. I was dubious of his opportunity to stick, considering he had made such a quick climb through the minor leagues. Remember Spencer Schwellenbach's kind of history here. You guys know it well. He was a two-way player, and then they decided to come up with a plan to let him close in 2021. He threw 31 2/3 innings in college ever.
Yeah, that's it.
Drafted as a pitcher. Then he had Tommy John. Then he threw less than 100 innings in the minor leagues over 2 seasons. And that dude is a pitcher. Here was his pitch mix on Saturday. He threw 17 four-seam fastballs, He threw 16 splitters. He threw 14 sliders. He threw 14 curveballs. He threw 13 sinkers, and he threw 7 cutters. You don't see that kind. Like usually when dudes come up, and especially when dudes who come up who haven't pitched very much, they'll throw like 80% fastballs,
just 103 the whole time. Yeah,
maybe they got one good off speed, and they're developing a third.
Mm-hmm.
This dude's got like 8 pitches he's throwing right now, and he's throwing them all kind of equally. It's really impressive what they've done with Spencer Schwellenbach. So yeah, I actually think this is an appropriate reaction.
First 2 or 3 starts for Schwelly. That's what his friends call him, Schwelly, myself included. He would get through the rotation one time, and it was like about as close to perfect as it could be. And then he'd go through a second time, and he'd give up 4, 5, 6 runs. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, they'll send him back down. They'll give him some seasoning, and they'll call him back up later this season. And that hasn't really happened.
Hasn't happened.
Whether it's because they can't afford to, or like,
well, I think it's probably a combination of like, hey, we like him and we think he's projectable, but also there's nobody else that.
Yeah, because they couldn't afford to send him down, it forced Spencer to figure it out, and he is.
I love when dudes figure it out.
God,
I love when dudes figure it out. Seriously,
slowly kind of figuring it out.
I love when dudes figure it out. Poll question: do you love when dudes figure it out?
Okay, I will put that up there after I say this. That game Saturday, are we talking about the pitch mix? I know there was some injuries, but it was against the Philadelphia Phillies. Like that matters.
That's a real lineup.
Yeah,
all their players are in the All-Star game,
yes,
which we might end up talking about again in this conversation.
Interesting.
Maybe right now.
What was the poll question?
Do you love when dudes just figure it out?
Yeah,
I do. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of like, all right, what happens to this guy or organization, whatever it might be, when something goes bad? What's your reaction?
You're in
like
the bleep.
You learn a lot about people and teams, organizations, whatever it is when that happens. Next.
Take number 2. Fan voting should not determine all-star starters.
This, in my opinion, I love fans. I love baseball fans. But I don't think people really watch the games.
They're idiots.
I don't think they really watch the games. So on the Phillies, Trey Turner, among many other Philadelphia Phillies, was named the NL starter at shortstop.
That's your NL MVP, Connor.
It was last year, and he also didn't play very much last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's been injured for a pretty good chunk of this season. He's only played 50 games. Most teams are through 80, 85 by the moment. Costs a guy like Francisco Lindor a spot. Now, who is it to, who am I to, really pump up the Mets here?
Oh, no, Francisco Lindor didn't get
Francisco Lindor should be an all-star.
Oh, no. Maybe he should be better, Connor.
How about a guy like Willie Castro of the Twins, who is definitely all-star caliber, but has played 20 games at 5 different positions this year? Nobody's going to vote that guy into the all-star game because you don't know where to put him. You don't know what to do with him, and his name is Willie Castro.
Nobody outside of the AL Central knows who Willie Castro is.
And so
myself included.
I'm not against the idea of the fans voting the players in, but what happens is those guys undeservedly get in, and then it pushes a spot off for somebody who deserves to actually be in the game. And that's disappointing.
It's kind of like our earlier conversation about in the game versus watching the game on TV. Like, I don't know what the governor needs to be, but there needs to be a governor on the fan voting.
They've messed with it a lot over the last couple of years.
Maybe it's like the top 3 fan voted players get in or something.
I think they've done a lot of good things with how the fan vote works now, the various stages of it, although it is certainly more confusing now, I think, than it ever has been. But a lot of times it just leads to, dudes on everybody on the best team. Like, why do we need 8 dudes who played for the Padres in this game? Why do people want to vote the Padres in?
Because the Padres have all the stars.
The little children love the Padres,
Mm-hmm.
and they love their uniforms, and they're like, oh, I think Juan Soto played there for 10 seconds, so I'll vote for Juan Soto and then all my favorite Padres. And I have that Juan Soto jersey with all the colors on it.
All the colors.
Yep. That's
and
what
then
they say.
You run into Matt Waldron's dad at the Schmunza.
At the Schmunza while getting a Schmamburger.
I got a schmallet.
Next.
Jose Miranda accomplished something that will never be done again with his 12 straight hits.
Just once again, put this in perspective. 12 hits in 12 at-bats.
Yeah.
Not 12 hits and, like a couple walks in there.
Not reached on a fielder's choice.
Not 12 for 16, which is still incredible. 12 hits and 12 straight at-bats. So there's obviously like a great amount of luck that goes into this, but also you got to be red hot. Here's the luck part. Only 3 players in the history of the sport have done that. Their names were Pinky Higgins, Johnny Kling, and Walt Dropo.
I'm guessing all of those are before World War II.
I don't know for sure, but it's just definitely the first time it's happened since the expansion era, like since 60, basically.
Okay.
So it's been a long time since this has happened, and you never like to say never because it's baseball and rando stuff happens all the time. It'll probably happen again by the end of the year now that I'm saying this, but let's just say
Eyes will do it.
Let's just say never again. 12 hits and 12 at bats. Think about the luck and how hot you have to be for, like, especially now. 3 true outcomes, right?
Yeah.
You're either getting walked or you're getting struck out 30% of the time, if not more. In some cases, like 50% of the time. So chances are somebody's going to walk you if you're that red hot. Nope. 12 straight hits. That was awesome. Should not be overlooked.
That's right. Pinky Higgins has gotten into bat 12 straight hits. 12 straight hits. I guarantee you, right here as I sit here in 1944, this will never, ever be accomplished again by any other hitter.
Thank you, 1940s, man.
Is he up? Is he hopped up on greenies? Who knows? Who cares? It's exciting.
Pinky Higgins played from 1930 to 1946.
Hello.
He, of course, missed the 1945 season due to his service in the military.
Thank you for your service, Pinky.
Thank you for your service, Pinky Higgins.
I'm laughing at the name, not the service.
When did Pinky Higgins get this?
When did he get this?
The
12 hits.
When did he get this? Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking and typing at the same time.
His name was Frank.
Yeah, but you had to call him Pinky. He did this in 1938. 1938, he ended up
for the Bo Sox.
Yeah, he ended up hitting 303 that year.
He would go on to manage the Bo Sox.
Nice year for Pinky Higgins.
3-time All-Star Pinky Higgins.
Let's just say never again. And then when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm going to play the odds on this one. Never again. So appropriate reaction.
Pinky Higgins, not a great person.
Oh, no. Did you look at his Wikipedia page?
Yeah, there's a section titled Racism.
Dang it.
And a lot of uncensored vulgarities.
Well, when did...
better quotes from Pinky Higgins.
Maybe Walt Dropo... Maybe Walt Dropo was better. He does not have a controversy.
Whoa.
What?
In 1968, Higgins was arrested after killing one and injuring 3 others with his car. He suffered 2 heart attacks between conviction and sentencing.
Dude, what an interesting life that Pinky Higgins had. He did all that on top of getting 12 hits in a row in 1939.
He was paroled after serving only 2 months. The day after he was paroled, he died of a heart attack.
No kidding.
Yes. Wow.
Wow.
Learned a lot about Pinky Higgins on the show today.
Walt Dropo, by the way, did it in 1952.
Was he racist?
It does not appear as if his racism was documented.
Okay.
If he was, it's unknown.
Okay.
No word on the other guy.
TBD.
Yep. Next.
Moving on. Paul Skeens should start the All-Star game.
Josh?
Oh, Connor, we had a big debate yesterday about this.
Did you? Where'd you come out? I'm curious.
I think yes.
I also think yes. I think what I want out of the starting pitcher in the All-Star game is for him to get up there, rip a few 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, hopefully strike out whatever Hall of Famer he faces, and then go sit down for a little while. I think Paul Skeens is the best candidate for this. I want that dude up there throwing absolute seeds.
He
is, and like, here's the thing with him right now, and it's baseball, so we're very slow to make declarations about people and whatever. He has a legitimate claim to being the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Yes, he does.
I mean, that is something we need to not forget about in this specific case. There is an argument that is very sound that he is the best pitcher in baseball right now.
He is the only pitcher that you can plug into that starting spot that makes it appointment television for casual baseball fans outside of just, the All-Star game's on. I think I'll watch the All-Star game.
But it's not just that he's must-watch TV. Like, that dude is pitching.
Yes,
Much as I said for Spencer Schwellenbach, like, that dude is pitching.
Also, maybe we let him start the All-Star game because Lord knows what will happen.
Oh, the MLB Twitter account will be all over the Livy Dunn content.
Well, yeah, she'll be there in Texas wearing a cowboy hat going yeehaw, but Lord knows what's going to happen to Paul Skeens throwing 102 every single pitch. Like,
yeah,
it's coming. Let's capitalize on it before it gets here and we miss Paul Skeens for a year.
He's been amazing, man. And it's been really fun to watch. There was a great story by, I believe it was Kylie McDaniel on ESPN a few days ago, just kind of detailing what's made him so successful so far and like what he's doing and the projectability of all of it as well. Like, he has the best single pitch in baseball right now, most dominant single pitch in baseball right now, which is of course his splinker, which he created out of thin air like less than a year ago. Like this is he's dominating. Like he is dominating right now. And I think it'd be cool if the All-Star game reflected that. He has an argument to be the best pitcher in baseball right now, regardless of, like I'm talking about dudes who have been around for 15, 20 years.
Everybody is saying that, I'm a Braves fan. Everybody's like, oh, how cool would it be to see Chris Sale start one more All-Star game? First of all, he's going to start on Sunday before the All-Star weekend, so he's not even going to play in the All-Star game. But yes, it would be pretty cool. But I would rather watch Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I would too. And we head to Baseball Savant Corner.
Baseball Savant Corner, my favorite corner.
It's kind of Baseball Savant Corner. This is a little bit more of a regular stat that you've heard of. It involves your own Matt Olson, Josh.
Oh, wow. What a Braves-centric MLB reaction overreaction today.
Matt Olson has played in now 545 consecutive games.
I have heard this.
That streak dates back to May 2nd, 2021. There have been only 6 other streaks of at least 500 games played in a row since 2000. Those people, mostly because I just like naming dudes, are as follows. Miguel Tejada played in more than 1,100 games from 2000 to 2007, straight games. Whit Merrifield of the Kansas City Royals played at 553 straight from 18 to 22. A guy that I did not expect to be on this list, 2010 to 2014, Prince Fielder played 547 consecutive games. Alex Rodriguez from 2000 to 2003. Hideki Matsui from 2003 to 2006. And Mark Teixeira from 2004 to 2007 all had streaks of over 500 games played. Just doesn't happen very often. So I'd like to give a shout out to the people whose best availability is their best ability is their availability.
That's right.
That's it. Even though Matt Olson's best ability is probably his ability to hit dongs and walk a lot.
Yeah. He should
But other
do
than that,
both of those more this season.
Other than that, it is indeed his availability. And so that is our Baseball Savant Corner.
Connor, just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What would you do if the All-Star game was Paul Skeens versus Seth Lugo?
It'd be quite the contrast. I think I'd root for the NL.
Really?
I like watching Paul Skeens pitch.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, watching Seth Lugo pitch is good fun to people who like pitching and are interested in spin rates, but not the most scintillating experience of all time.
And then he hands the ball in the second inning to Cole Reagan's.
Oh, man. That would be exciting. And then Bobby hits a homer and Salvi hits a homer. And, could be good. By the way, coming up in the next couple of weeks on baseball, during baseball reaction, overreaction, we'll be gearing a little bit more toward Hall of Fame stuff.
Oh.
We'll be making some Hall of Fame cases over the next few weeks.
Okay.
Because induction day is coming up smack dab in the middle of the season here in just a couple of weeks. So we'll be...
People forget.
And you bet your sweet bippy I'll be making an argument for Salvador Perez to be in the Hall of Fame.
I'd like to hear the argument against it.
Oh, there are some that exist.
Oh, okay.
We can't frame pitches very good. Grow up. Grow up.
Not a thing anyone has ever cared about. Half a second after the umpire makes the call, ball or strike.
He's got like a handful of gold gloves and silver sluggers, and he won a World Series MVP. Give me a break. Grow up. You can't frame pitches very good. One quick thing. Well, actually, we'll do this on the other side. Another thing from the Media Days universe coming up that we'll get to.
Okay.
Coming up on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. All right, Jacob Bigelow is coming up in a few minutes. We will also have Today in Graphics, the debut of Today in Graphics.
Okay.
Graphics Today, maybe? That's coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, this is Media Days from the Media Days universe. Josh, I have a couple pre-questions before we get to the real thing.
All right, this
Number
is good.
one,
This is good.
do you remember DJ Uiagalelei?
I do, absolutely.
Did you know that he still plays college football?
I guess that's not surprising.
Okay. Do you know who he plays for or will play for this fall?
So it's not Oregon State anymore.
Correct. And it's not Clemson again. But it is in the ACC.
It is in the ACC.
Yes.
Cal?
No. He transferred to Florida State.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Surprising.
Is he gonna start?
He has an announcement that he'd like to tell people about.
Okay.
He says that he was honored to be invited by the conference to represent Florida State at this year's ACC kickoff. The experience of attending that event in 2021 and 2022 at Clemson is among the highlights of my time in college, and I appreciate being viewed as one of the conference's top players heading into the season.
But
however, I feel strongly that Florida State should be represented by players who were part of the team last year that won the ACC championship. The players who helped this program, who helped put this program back on top of the ACC, should have the opportunity to be recognized for their contributions. This team is more than its quarterback, and I'm excited for my teammates who will experience this fantastic event. So he says, no, thank you. I'd like the people who were on the team last year and people forget didn't make the college football playoff.
He knows it's not like a recap of last year, right? He knows it's a preview of this year.
That's right. I think he knows that.
Do we know who's coming to Nebraska? Who's representing Nebraska for Media Day?
We do not.
Okay.
We do not have that information.
Hypothetically,
we could certainly guess.
Imagine if Dylon said, I was not on the team last year. I cannot, in good conscience, participate in this event.
That'd be weird considering they went 5-7.
Yes, it would.
Now, if Nebraska went undefeated and missed a playoff game last year, I'd be like, you know what? I respect you. I respect that. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like the White Castle incident all over again. I respect that. So yeah, DJU is still playing college football, and he is not going to ACC Media Days. I think he's in line to be the starter. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Jordan Travis is gone.
Right.
Did they get another big recruit at that position? No, I guess it'd be DJ's spot.
I mean, it's Florida State. It's always possible, right?
By the way, I keep seeing this. So they do they have practices from spring ball. So you know how all the quarterbacks have different colored jerseys. Nebraska's quarterbacks wear green. I always think the green practice jerseys are really, really cool because of how different they are. Florida State's quarterbacks wear turquoise.
They have they got a turquoise uniform.
They are
this year.
so sick.
Yeah.
They are so awesome. They should absolutely wear turquoise. They actually designed a turquoise uniform for them.
No, they're gonna have a alternate jersey.
That's what I'm saying. So they're actually gonna wear that?
Yeah.
Oh man, hell yes. Those are sweet.
Yeah. It was a sharp looking jersey.
I keep seeing. I just thought they wore them as practice, non-contact quarterback uniforms, but nice. Okay, today in graphics. Still workshopping the name a little bit. Graphics today. Best graphic of the day. I don't know. We could work on it. But here's graphic of the day. Presented by Could Be You. This comes to us from College Basketball Report.
Oh,
at CBK Report.
Sorry, I just assumed these were going to be football graphics.
Well, they certainly can and will be.
Ignorance on my part.
The first one is a basketball graphic.
Okay.
The most Power 6 conference wins in men's college basketball over the last 5 seasons. So we're going conference wins out of high major teams over the last 5 years. Who has the most conference wins over the last 5 seasons?
Oh, conference wins.
That's right.
Oh, Gonzaga?
Gonzaga is not a high major team.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that part either.
Not included.
Okay.
They're canceled. They're off the list. Arizona and Duke. Arizona and Duke
Okay.
have 76. Illinois has 75. Purdue has 75. Virginia has 73. UCLA has 73. Kansas has 72. Creighton has 72.
Creighton.
UConn has 71. Alabama and Oregon have 68. And that's your top 10. Top 10.
Whoa.
Creighton, 72 conference wins over the last 5 years. Does that look like one of the best programs in the country to you, Josh? It does to me. Now, you'll notice on this list how, gosh, I don't think any of those teams have. I mean, I guess Virginia, did they win their natty in the last 5 years? I guess so, right?
5 years?
Let's see. Division I champions over the last 5 years. Okay, so our last 5 champions are UConn, Kansas, Baylor, Virginia. No COVID 2020.
Now, had there been a COVID tournament, Virginia would not be in this.
That is correct. So back to graphic gate. Arizona, no natties. Struggled in the tournament a lot, actually. Duke, no natties, but they went to that Final Four. Illinois, no natties, but nope, I don't think they made a Final Four either. Purdue, notably no natties, but did go to the national championship game last year. Virginia, UCLA, Kansas, Creighton, UConn, Alabama, Oregon. That's your top 10. Tough to win a national championship, guys.
People forget.
Part of the point. Part of the point here. Nebraska, if you're wondering from a basketball perspective, maybe our next guest, Jacob Bigelow, was Nebraska, unclear where they are, but they did not crack the top 40.
Not the top 40.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Not surprising at all, considering in their last 5 seasons, they've won the following amount of conference games: 2, 3, 4, 9, and 12.
12's a lot, Connor.
Let's do some quick math here. So 2, 3, 5, 4. Now, I'm just going to say numbers, but bear with me. It's going to get me somewhere. 9 plus 9, 18 plus 12 is 30. Nebraska is the owner of 30 conference wins, which puts them off of this list by just 20. They have 20 less conference wins than Michigan over the last 5 years.
Just 20.
Only 20 away.
You can get that back.
Keep racking up those huge seasons.
You have a high number this coming season. You're going to lose a low number on the back end 5 years ago.
You're going to lose the worst number, which was 2.
Yeah, so
they won 2 conference games in Fred's first year.
Now's the time for Fred and them boys to jump up on this list.
Okay. You're probably going to have to go undefeated this year to make it.
What if Nebraska basketball never lost again, Connor?
Have people thought about this and what could potentially happen?
It sounds nice, doesn't it?
Also, a reminder that Michigan went 3-17 in the Big Ten last year.
That's right.
Did you remember that?
Yeah. Penn State is on this list, notoriously mediocre at best.
That is our graphic of the day, or graphic alert, or graphic time. Thanks for putting it up on the screen too. I didn't think about that prior to. That's why you're the guy.
Well, this segment just came about today.
Coming back, we'll talk to Jacob Bigelow about Nebraska's lack of conference wins, but probably not just that. Also, the softball, the Weirdo Jack Mitchell softball team. By the way, Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
You just couldn't help bringing up Nebraska ball. Well, of course not.
What?
We cover them. They're a local team of note.
I said they would never lose again.
They're a local team of note. Of course, I would bring them up. It's not just that Creighton was on the list. Why I, made this graphic available to everybody aware. It's also, hey, look, Nebraska's not on there. They got a long way to go to be on there. Oof. That's just stating facts, baby.
Very quick breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Jose Ramirez in the home run derby.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I like Jose Ramirez. How could you hate Jose Ramirez?
Right.
All right. Quick timeout. Jacob Bigelow's on the other side on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. But first, a reminder that we are still helping out with the Red Cross from our floods in the area over the last couple weeks. So we encourage you all to make a difference with us and with the Red Cross. Donate to those affected by the flooding. Head to redcross.org/NRG Omaha Cares. Redcross.org/NRG Omaha Cares to share your support for disaster relief. You could also visit our website where there's a nice, convenient link there for you, 1620thezone.com.
He's heating up.
That's the country song. I remember when.
Thank you. Jacob Bigelow.
Yeah. Whenever my open is concocted, throw that in there.
He's on fire.
Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, on the Connor Happer Show, on 1620, The Zone.
Shakalaka.
All right. Many things to get to with our dear friend Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated. The Stretch Big Pod joins us now. via the 42 Degrees The Source hotline. Jacob, good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well, Happer. Good to be with you.
Feeling pretty good after the playoff win last night, which I don't know what the line was going into the game, but you guys were the 1 seed and ended up pulling out a nice victory. Congratulations.
Well, it'll put a little extra pep in your step for a Tuesday. Total team effort last night. I think everybody contributed in some way, shape, or form, and found a way to get her done. So
okay.
Yeah, but it was a ton of fun, and everybody contributed. So it was pretty fun.
So
to be part of that last.
How many more wins will it take for you to be getting the free T-shirts that the Lincoln Parks and Rec Department gives to the winners?
I believe we are 2 wins away from shirts.
And if you lose, it's over, or is this a double elimination situation?
I've been told this is a double elimination situation.
Okay.
If we play again on Monday at 7, and then if we win,
prime time,
advance to the final, and it's from there. But I've been told it's a double elimination situation from here on.
No, here's my okay. Have you seen a bracket? Because this is very confusing. You guys won like 2 games, and then you got the 1 seed, and now there seems to be a lack of clarity on how many games you actually have to win or can lose in order to win the thing. It seems very confusing to me.
We are 2. If I'm being honest, I'm a little confused by it all myself. As I've said to you, I've got my one job, and I did my one job one time last night, but I haven't gone full Nardi bracket breakdown on the third flight bracket of the Lincoln Parks and Rec Monday night softball tournament. But I know that we're on the path we want to be on. That's all I know.
You are definitely on a path. As
many people in the chat, sorry for interrupting.
Yes,
many people in the chat are wondering, and we've gone over this before, how the Jack Mitchell softball team got the number 1 seed, and what happened to the team that beat you 1,000,000
and
in the opening week. Yes.
I've been informed that the way slow pitch softball works, I had never done this before. People forget I hadn't swung a bat since the 7th grade when I, willingly joined this team. But it's like a golf scramble. They flight it based on how teams perform in the regular season. I think we played a team last night that either had 1 win or 0 wins, but they had been playing in a higher division than us. We had not seen them so far this season. I believe we are the only, it is double elimination, but I believe the winners bracket does not involve any of the teams from our division during the regular season.
Probably good.
They are all either in the tournament and lost, or they are in different brackets. So that is the best explanation that I have.
Quite the intrigue. All right. Well, we'll definitely be paying close attention to whatever happens next Monday. But you've advanced, and for that we congratulate a heartfelt congratulations from me, one of the certain haters of the team, and one of the certain questioners of the team. Nice job, but let's see it again next time. That's my only thing.
No, that's not a bad mantra to have. Not a bad mantra for sure. It's 1 down. Still, the job's not finished by any means.
So you as a basketball nerd, so the first question to pass through the gates of basketball sicko around this time of the year is, are you into the summer league? That's question 1.
I have watched 1 summer league game, and it was the Grizzlies Jazz because I wanted to see how Edie looked. That is the 1 summer league game I've tuned into so far.
And he got the tip in because of his tallness. People were wondering if he was just tall. It turns out that's all you need to be, even in the NBA, just tall.
Yeah, it turns out it is hard to box out a tree, regardless of what level you're playing at. It is tough to box out a giant man.
Second question. And judging off of your social media feed here, this may be a yes. Are you jacked about the Olympics?
Yeah, I am jacked. Yes.
Okay.
I am pretty excited for Olympic basketball. to be quite honest. I think it'll be possibly the most entertaining basketball of the calendar year. I think it'll be more entertaining. I know people are thinking the U.S. is going to steamroll anyway, and I'm just like, well, after the NBA playoffs and, I mean, a very meh NCAA tournament, there's something to look forward to with Olympic basketball at the end of the month.
Serbia's in their pool.
Serbia is in whose pool? Serbia is in our pool?
I thought I saw
Oh,
that.
that's right. Serbia is in the Group C pool.
You're going to get some Jokic action against the Americans.
Okay, it might be a tough group to get out of, but there's also South Sudan and Puerto Rico, so hopefully they're able to get out of that group. But as you've mentioned, Jacob, there is some definite Nebraska ball connections here. So Jack McVeigh is on the Australian Olympic squad, and then of course our son, our hero Keisei Tominaga, is about to start. We're doing the yearly tradition again of him ripping threes against NBA players, and they go, "What is going on? Who is this person?" I cannot wait for that experience yet again.
Yeah, and then with Japan's group, we get Keisei against the Wagner brothers with Germany in that group, and then we also get Keisei against Wemby and the home team in France. So
that's right.
Japan's got a pretty interesting group for their first time in the competition for 5-on-5 in the Olympics. But Keisei and Rui Hachimura, they got two guys who can get after it. A couple other guys who have at least had a cup of coffee in the NBA. So we'll see how it goes. At least they're not in Group A. Group A is definitely the toughest group in my opinion.
Yeah, it was like, not that I know that I could give you a full breakdown of the Olympics and their rosters. But I am and then the other news with Keisei is that he is not completely giving up on the NBA dream as of yet, which I think is really, really cool the longer he wants to kind of hang around and be whatever he's going to be. But this Olympic setting for him is perfect. I don't think it could possibly be better for him to go up. Like, I want to see him against the best players in the world doing exactly what he does on a regular basis, and really probably have it mean nothing on the backside of it in terms of his like career or trajectory or anything like that. I'm just here for the pure entertainment value, which is, I think, what the Olympics should be for.
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree. I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, I think that, the craziest thing, I mean, there was the Olympic qualifying games, this past week to get the last couple spots, and Giannis went up against Luka in a single elimination game with making the Olympics on the line. And unless you're a sicko like myself, you probably didn't know it was going on. And it was, but I think, it's going to be a much needed way to scratch the basketball itch in late July. But I agree with you. It'll be perfect for Keisei.
Speaking of scratching the basketball itch, I asked Robin this last week. As you start to think a little bit more about Nebraska basketball now, and they're putting the roster together, heard from a couple players last week, and we asked you a little bit about that. But from what you know and hear about Nebraska basketball, is there a player or two that you are interested in gobbling up some stock on at this point during the summer?
Yeah, I try to be an original to the best of my ability, but I'll steal a line from the podfather himself, Bill Simmons. I've been on Redfin, I've been on Zillow, I've been looking into some property on Nick Janowski Island.
Whoa!
Been looking for some property. I know what people may be thinking. True freshmen, you hardly, it's rare to see true freshmen come in and contribute right away. And I'm not saying he's going to start, but I think everything that I've seen and heard about his mantra, he's a competitor of the highest order, an absolute gym rat. He's exactly what Fred's staff is looking for. And, I've just been browsing, passing the time. It's been a tab open on the computer, looking for some property on Nick Janowski Island. But I could also, say that same thing for Connor Essegian as well. I've been, Nebraska's definitely betting on bounce backs for guys like him and Gavin Griffiths. But I think the two guys with Wisconsin ties are kind of where I'm looking them up.
Yeah, in the neighborhood of just to continue on with the Bill Simmons analogy, in the neighborhood of Nebraska basketball players, these are two of the less expensive properties. Maybe you need some work to be done, but you're going in. You're like, you have a vision. You're like, I can see what this ends up becoming, and that's where Nick Janowski Island comes into play.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely not gonna jump off the page at you, unless you're a real sicko. But I mean, that's my affectionately labeled specialty. But I mean, yeah, no, it's a long-term investment. You might not get your payout right away, but I think it's worth at least taking a flyer.
Love it. I'm interested. It's a good sell, that's for sure. Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated. Jacob, we appreciate the time as always. Good to chat, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate the time. Have a good rest of the week.
That is our good friend Jacob Bigelow. Speaking of, did you see the one? So Bill Simmons is really famous for doing exactly what Jacob just did there, which is just he loves buying stock. He loves viewing people as if they are stock, and he also loves doing really weird analogies.
He speaks with the writer's flourish, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I saw one. It was like a 45-second clip that got retweeted onto my timeline last night, and it was Bill Simmons was like, he told this whole story about how he was on some sort of like an island or a resort or something like that, and they were lost and they were trying to get back to the property, and they were met with a fork in the road. And they had the choices to go one way or the other, and he chose to go one way, but his mom was with him, and his mom said, I don't want to go that way. I don't have a good feeling about that direction. And then they ended up not going that way. And he told this whole story. It lasted 40 seconds. And at the end of it, he said the last 4 seconds were, that's how I feel about Paul George going to the Sixers. I don't really like that road. I don't feel good about it. I'm going to take another road. It was just an excuse for him to talk for 45 seconds and then mention Paul George at the end. It was great. I thought it was great theater. Good job by Bill Simmons, as always. All right. Let's take a break. Still a few things we need to cover. Oh, yeah, I could talk about Bobby Witt Jr.
Please.
Love
People
that.
have expected it.
Love that. And a reminder, we're out at Werner Park tomorrow to take in some baseball. Werner Park display.
We'll be there.
Back with more next on 1620 The Zone. Josh, I got a fun fact for you.
I love fun facts.
So,
is it a figure or a fact?
It is a fact.
Okay.
The first part is just a statement by me, which is we love our dear, dear son, Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, yes. We're so proud. He's growing up before our very eyes, Connor.
So this fact is about Bobby Witt Jr. He will participate in the Home Run Derby. I'm not worried, not concerned at all. The whole thing about people's swings getting screwed up because of the Home Run Derby is fake news. Fake news.
Is it, though?
It's totally fake news. Didn't we have a fake news button on here? Yeah, we do. Here it is.
Well, hold on.
Oh, yeah, get that out of there. Kill it.
You are fake news.
That's fake news. Not a thing anymore. Not a thing. Debunked. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got better after he won the Home Run Derby, and then got worse after that. But
and has not recovered.
He's not recovered at all. Got a haircut though.
Sure,
it was cool. Not a thing. Not concerned. Also, he's not a home run hitter, so he'll just be I actually think he has the stamina to get through an event like this. He might win.
Speed never slumps, Connor.
And he's playing in his home state of Texas.
People forget.
So Bobby Witt Jr., the son of Bobby Witt,
makes sense.
Former Major League player, is now former Ranger, and now his son's agent as well. It's in the sports management world. Bobby Jr. has 3 sisters. Bobby Sr. has 3 daughters and a son.
Okay.
There's Bobby Jr., who is a Major League Baseball player.
Uh-huh.
And then there is Bobby Jr.'s sisters, one named, let me see, Shaylee.
Okay.
One named
Shaylee
Witt. One named Kiana
Witt.
And the other, let's see if I can make sure I get this right. There's one more sister.
Shaylee Witt is a interesting name.
Why?
Just sounds close to a swear. Like as far as names go.
Really? Well, then there's also, so the third daughter is Nikki
Witt.
Nikki Witt, Shaylee Witt, and then whatever the first thing I said was, Kiana. All 3 of those people, Bobby Jr.'s sisters, are married to major leaguers or former major leaguers.
Whoa.
So in the Witt household, you either have to be a Major League Baseball player or you have to be married to one. This is true of every single person in that household. It is true of Bobby Sr. It is true of Bobby's wife, Bobby Sr.'s wife, all of Bobby's Sr.'s daughters, and of Bobby Witt Jr. himself, who is Bobby's son. A lot of talk about the Witt family today, but that is a fun fact for Josh, who I knew would enjoy that. And I bring it up because of this. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be in the Home Run Derby, and he needs a pitcher for his Home Run Derby, his Home Run Derby rounds, however many of them there are.
Remember, new Derby rules.
New Derby rules.
40 swings max.
And so who could he go to? Well, who else but one of his brother-in-law big league friends, James Russell, who is now no longer playing, I believe. But he was a member, I think, of the Cubs a few years ago. James Russell. He will be pitching to young Bob in the Home Run Derby. It's a family affair.
Family affair. And, is there a Ranger in the Home Run Derby? I don't think there is, right?
I assume there will be.
Is Wyatt Langford going to be? I don't have
there
the roster.
There you go. You put Wyatt Langford in
but
there.
But if there isn't a Ranger, this might be the one the hometown fans root for. James Russell, Cubs, Braves, Cubs, Phillies.
There you go. He's gonna throw some meatballs to Bobby. So if you're wondering who's pitching to Bobby Witt Jr. in the Home Run Derby, you'd say his brother-in-law. No, not that one. The other one. No, not that one. The other one. His former Major League brother-in-law. Family affair.
They have revealed the chain that will go to the winner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I bet it's interesting.
It is very.
Does it have a big cowboy hat on it?
Large. No, it doesn't actually. It's got a big blue star in the middle.
It's cool. Sounds great. I'm sure the player will love it.
Very cool.
Brandon tweets in.
Hi, Brandon.
Why wouldn't Bob Sr. pitch to Bob Jr. since he was a pitcher? Great question. Probably just because he didn't want to.
How old is?
He's 60.
Okay. Not that really matters.
Still throw some BP at age 60, especially when you're a former big leaguer. Did you know, by the way, that Bob Sr. pitched for Josh Peterson's favorite baseball team, the 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks?
Oh, wow. I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, just briefly, but he did. That was his last season in the major leagues. And he did appear in Game 2 of the 2001 NLCS against the Braves on their way to the 2001 World Series. He pitched the 8th inning. He gave up 3 hits immediately. That was his last. I think that was his last major league appearance, to be honest with you. Oh, no. He did pitch in Game 6 of the 2001 World Series. He pitched the 8th inning in relief of Randy Johnson when the Diamondbacks led the Yankees 15-2.
Whoa. Yeah. People forget.
And then the 2001 World Series, continued on with Game 7. People forget. All right. Here's Tom Fornelli coming in with a nice reminder for us. Thank you, Tom. We always appreciate this. Most one-score games in the last 3 seasons in college football.
Oh, no.
I wonder who might be on this. Who do you think leads the category? Most one-score games in the last 3 seasons.
Oh, I mean, it's got to be Nebraska, right?
False! It's Nebraska's second.
Oh.
Now, I did not say most one-score losses in the last 3 seasons. If I had, that would have been Nebraska. Because in their 21 one-score games over the last 3 years, they've only won 3 of them, which is very cool and normal. Washington, I believe, had 8 or 9 one-score games last year en route to playing in the national championship game. They've played 22 one-score games in the last 3 years, and they've gone 15-7 in those games. A great number. Most of the others are pretty normal. Illinois played 20. They've gone 9-11 in those games. Oklahoma State usually comes out on the right side of one-score games. They've gone 13-6 over the last 3 years. Pretty much everybody's floating around 500, except for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are 3-18 in the last 3 seasons in 21 one-score games.
I don't like what you've just told me.
Well, it's not my fault. Blame Tom Fornelli.
I understand it. I get it.
Now, some use a stat like this to say, oh, well, if you've had so much success in one-score games, you're bound to come back down to earth in the next season. Same thing in the inverse. If you've been so horrible in one-score games, you're bound to be better in one-score games the next year. At some point, this will even out. So Washington and Nebraska are the 2 best examples of this year. Washington lost some talent, lost their coach. Maybe they stay on a similar plane in terms of their general overall talent level.
Lost their AD.
They stay in they lost Mr. Yogurt. Maybe they stay in the neighborhood of those one-score games, but they just lost that much of an it factor to flip them the other way. And they stink this year. And they lose all their one-score games instead of winning them all. Or they win 2 out of the 7 or something like that. That's what people will say. And they'll say that about Nebraska as well. They'll say, wow, how could you be this bad over 3 years, 3-18 over the last 3 years? You can't win a single one-score game.
That's impossible to
I guess
be
you can win. You can win only 3. It must be a statistical anomaly.
You must be cursed.
And that's when people will start to make the argument. Nebraska's an interesting team. Huh. Also, they finished -17 of the turnover margin last year. That is so bad. That must be better. And then they'll write the preseason magazine and they'll say, I like Nebraska. Nebraska's a bounce back candidate this year. And then there'll be some guy out there who says, pick Nebraska to win close games at your own peril. Pick Nebraska to not turn the football over at your own peril. Now, Josh, based off of what you've heard from me this summer, do you think I'm the first guy or the second guy? Do you think I'm the guy that says, choose Nebraska at your own peril? Or they're going to bounce back in a big way, GBR?
I think Connor is a bounce back guy.
Damn right, Josh. Bounce back in a big way. The stats can only take you so far. They only mean so much.
Nicole Auerbach on this show yesterday, Nebraska will be a tough out. Nebraska.
What does that mean? They were a tough out last year.
There'll be a problem.
A problem for who?
Their opponents.
Oh, is that an inference that you're making, or is that actually what she said?
I asked her how good Nebraska can be, and she said they're going to be a problem.
Okay,
they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. They're going to be. The truth is, they're going to be generally just about as good as they have been over the last 3 years that we're taking into account here, with theoretically much better quarterback play. That's pretty much the difference. And so we'll see if that takes them to 1 billion one-score losses to maybe a few, and we'll see if that takes them from -17 in the turnover margin to something at least semi-respectable. That's
normal.
The hope. That's the hope. All right, we'll come back. We got the polls. We'll tell you what to watch. Still got a couple other things we can get to as well on a Tuesday. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. But I do have a reminder for you all, and it is this: to subscribe today. Join the VIP club. 1620 The email is coming at you, and you can sign up. In fact, you should, because we'll be having stuff that we'll be announcing this summer in terms of what we're going to be doing this fall, contest promotions. There's going to be concerts. There's going to be things that you can win. We might even slide a little money in the pocket every once in a while. I would probably get subscribed. 1620thezone.com. It's also fun, Josh, while I was gone, to just randomly get some tweets every now and again. So I realized that, I must have come up on air at some point.
Sure.
And then I don't have the ability to understand the context of it or defend myself.
It's more fun that way.
So here's a sampling
Okay.
of some of the things that I've received while I was not on the air over the last almost week, 6 days. This is from Sindelar. He says, man, we're going to be treated to a heaping helping of Bob Dongs. That was on the announcement that Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be in the Home Run Derby. Here's one from John.
Hi, John.
Shame that Nick Grimm's Rockies took 2 out of 3 from Connor Happer's Royals, and they aren't here to confront each other about it on today's crossover. And then a GIF of Peter Griffin and the dog and the baby having a pillow fight on a bed. It was a good John.
Okay.
John GIF. John Jacob Giffelheimer Schmidt.
That's what they'll call him.
And let's see. I tweeted a couple times from the baseball game, so that was, I had some stuff in there. Then I got one. Gosh, where was it? It was amazing. Daniel, there was something about mashed potatoes. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have heard of mashed potatoes. Yes.
There was something about mashed potatoes yesterday, and I think Josh had a bad mashed potatoes take. And then somebody mentioned me because I guess am the person that they talk about when they talk about bad food takes. Oh, here it is. 23 hours ago. Josh Peterson here for hard, crispy mashed potatoes. This is a Connor Happer level food take.
Ooh, tough look for Connor. Also,
I'm going to let Josh defend himself a little bit. I'd like to hear more information on that. Maybe we'll find that out in the crossover.
Tony says dry or wet mashed potatoes in the chat.
Dry or wet mashed potatoes?
Josh likes his potatoes hard and chunky.
I would hope, Tony, that the mashed potatoes are neither dry nor wet.
Yeah. How about a nice, soft, fluffy mash?
Definitely no. I mean, I wouldn't like if you throw a little, artificially throw some little crispies on top of there.
Maybe some bacon bits.
Yeah. But sure, something in
like
that sphere,
yeah,
sure. Yeah. I'd be all right with that. I don't know if that's what Josh was saying or not. I definitely don't want the mashed potato to be crunchy, but we'll find out here in a couple minutes. To the polls at Happer Show. Does AI do hands well?
No, I think we learned that today.
It does not seem like it. 85% say no. Is Connor Happer on an island by himself? Nope.
I mean, that's coming back. Yes, you got to know that.
But what was I talking about? I'm not the only person who thinks this. I remember saying that out loud. Oh, yeah, that baseball games are too short.
Right.
No, I'm not on an island by myself. Might seem like it, but I'm not. Although 86% voted yes. Should Nebraska pack up the big semi-truck and start cooking hibachi on that 5-star offensive lineman's front yard?
Most voted on poll question of the day.
I'm going to say yes.
Hell yes.
I would imagine we go overwhelmingly yes here. 97% say yes. That is in the running for our highest ever.
We are trending that way.
2 more. Can a mermaid be a showgirl? Yeah, I think so. Follow your dreams.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
67% say yes. Actually, 2 more now. Do you love when dudes just figure it out?
Definitely.
Yes. 87% say yes. And finally, is it hard to box out a tree? Yes.
Yes.
The tree's not going to move. 79% say yes. Josh, those are the polls. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching Major League Baseball. Dodgers, Phillies, 6 o'clock on TBS. Then it's a slew of late games. Mariners, Padres, 8:40 on MLB Network. Blue Jays, Giants, also at 8:40 on ESPN Plus. Programming note: the Royals game against the Cardinals today has been rained out. They will play 2 tomorrow. NBA Summer League in Salt Lake City. Connor, I learned while you were away that there's more than one NBA Summer League. I thought it was just the one in Vegas. but now there's 3 NBA summer leagues.
Okay.
There's
Vegas.
one in Cali. There's a Cali Classic, and then the Vegas one is coming up.
All right.
We're in Salt Lake tonight.
Which one's Bronny in? Where's Bronny?
California Classic, of course. Grizzlies Sixers, 6 o'clock ESPN. You can watch Zach Edey be tall. And then Thunder Jazz, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. 7 o'clock tonight on Discovery Channel. It is night 3 of Shark Week. Programming includes Deadliest Bite, 6,000-pound shark, and monster hammerheads. Species X.
People don't still get into this, right?
I think it's waned.
The craze is kind of gone,
but it's advertised as if it is a big thing.
Hey, so what channel is the Discovery Channel on Cox?
Oh,
Do you know?
I have no clue. 37.
I'm gonna guess like in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
37. All right. Travel. I was gonna see what's on right now. And we're just wasting time here, kind of.
That's okay.
All right, we're into the 30s. Oh, hell yeah. Nice call,
Nailed
Josh.
it.
37, Discovery Channel. Currently, Guy Fieri's Feeding Frenzy.
Whoa, hello.
It appears as if Shark Week doesn't start until 2 when the sharks of Headstone Hell.
Well, what's Guy Fieri feeding?
It cannot be about sharks, I don't think.
No, it doesn't appear to be. There's more stuff on TV tonight. 7 o'clock ABC Family Feud.
Cocaine Sharks at 10:07 tonight.
Cocaine Shark?
Yes.
Oh, Cocaine Sharks.
Cocaine Sharks, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Family Feud, Decades of Laugh, the special look back at the past decades of the game show, highlighting fan favorite and memorable moments. And that is immediately followed on ABC by the season 10 premiere of Celebrity Family Feud. Now, this is how this works, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 half-hour episodes built in this 1 hour. The first episode will be Megan Thee Stallion versus Neo.
Okay.
And the second episode will be NFL athletes against Olympians. No, I do not know which NFL athletes or Olympians will be on the show.
If they're not telling us, that's probably not a good sign.
I would agree with that. And it's also the second episode, which usually is less famous people than the first episode.
Gotcha. You seem to be following that trend here.
But Steve Harvey loves when the NFL players are on. He fanboy.
I'm Team Steve Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
That show rules.
I watch it almost every night.
He's probably the best host we have right now, game show host we have.
Yes, running away.
Oh.
Almost. Quick programming note. I do not know what time, but Cade Povich will be on the show via the telephone with us tomorrow.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Maybe I'll be doing something else. And you could just talk to Cade Povich.
Just got a get on my phone. Big get.
All right,
for the show.
nice get. Nice get, Josh. That's the show today. If you missed anything, you could find it all at 1620thezone.com. Good to be back. And let's do a crossover. It's next.
himself a crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. Nick, welcome back.
Hello.
John, Josh.
Hey.
How were your days over the last couple days? I didn't get any of the Topic Alert show, but I'm sure it was great.
Oh, it was a lovely time.
Yeah.
John, we had a great time.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. We had topics and alerts and
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of fun stuff.
Good to hear.